Hello and welcome to the greatest course of all time. I'm your host, Michael Garza, the one and only, the one that you want, the one that you need, the one that's deep inside your mussy. Um, sorry, your mussy, it's your man pussy. Welcome to the $10,000 course. So I am your. So this is the $10,000 course. If you're watching this for free, um, you're a pirate. No, I'm just kidding. Am I? I don't know. Anyway, this is actually a $10,000 course. So all I ask is that if you're watching this for free, you should stop watching it, contact me, and maybe try to buy this from me for $10,000. But hey, if you want to keep being a freeloader and watching this $10,000 course for free, you go for it, boy. Anyway, so this is called Dividend Stocks and You with the greatest course master of all time, Michael Garza. I'm doing this as a live webinar, by the way. Live. So you can watch the recording. You can watch it live. So we're going to talk about dividend stocks. Obviously, dividend stocks are great. I personally love them. I'm a big fan of them. I've been investing in dividends for a long time. Just anything that pays a dividend, really. It does matter what it is, by the way. Because there are some stocks that pay a dividend that are borrowing money to pay out that dividend and not using real earnings. There's a few requirements that I have. If you want to be, I'm about to sing here. If you want me to be your owner, you got to have good cash flow. I'm making all these lyrics up as I go. You got to have good cash flow. Have a diversified product pipeline. And I can't think of anything else. Anyway, I'm not going to sing it because it just doesn't work. But anyway, have a diversified pipeline, product pipeline. Be well managed. Obviously, have a lot of systems in place. Know what you are as a company. That's always important to me. That's something that's really not stated a lot. Make sure there are established cash flows. You're going to have to pay a premium a little bit for companies with an established cash flow, but you can usually get these companies for really good prices, really good valuations, I should say, during a bear market. So keep that in mind. But yeah, my main focus is to focus on high quality companies. I don't focus on companies that promise cash flow. Promising cash flow, I think, is kind of stupid. You know what I mean? I think that any it's obviously every company has to start from zero to get to where they're at. It's just that the only people who should invest in those companies really are institutional investors who can fork out a decent amount of cash and can take that sort of risk. If people want to invest in startups, that's great. But like, just remember, 9 out of 10 startups usually fail. They don't have a high success rate. So you as an investor have to be intelligent enough to realize that if you're going to be a long-term investor, you're just going to want to invest in companies with stable cash flows. And that's pretty much it. And remain diversified. I buy and I hold. I buy, hold, and I never sell. I'm writing this down, by the way. I like taking notes. I never sell. So why do I take this approach? Well, one, if you're really diversified and a couple of the companies that you choose to pick and you're not go bankrupt, that's fine. I mean, it's not good. It sucks. I've had a couple investments go bottom up, but they were only such a small fraction of my overall portfolio. It didn't matter in the end. The point is, remain super diversified. My boy Tim Smith. Welcome to the $10,000 course. Did you pay your $10,000 fee to get into this course? I don't see you on the list. I don't see you on this imaginary list that I made up. What's up, man? What's up, my boy? Oh, let's see. The only ex-dividend date that matters is Garza's birthday. I'm buying and holding the count of. Hey, do you want to go live with me? I'm down, dude. I need some. I haven't seen my Tim Smith in a while, so I was like, fuck. I'm gonna put the link in here in just a second. If you feel like it, there's never any pressure, obviously. I never want to pressure my boy. Only if you're feeling up to it, though. There is zero pressure. I'm gonna put it up though. But anybody who wants to join, by the way, is always welcome to join. But I'm talking about dividend stocks and you. It's a $10,000 course, and if you're anybody who's watching it for free, you're a freeloader, and I'm going to make you feel bad about it. All right. You're probably wondering, why do I sell a $10,000 course? Because I'm not a grifter. I might be. Do you want to buy my Bitcoin? Do you want to buy a coin that I make? No, I'm just kidding. I do have the ability to sound like a grifter, though, and it's pretty bad. So I was thinking about setting up a second camera on this and just inviting myself on another camera. And just having like two angles, but that'd be ridiculous. I actually could set up a camera. Now, it's okay if you haven't shaved today, by the way. There's no pressure. There's never any pressure. Unless you're self-conscious about it, totally understandable. I'm not going to judge you on any of that, man. You do what you want. Only what feels comfortable. So with dividend stocks, for me personally, I'm just going to kind of just go on a quick tirade real fast. I'm going to try to make it brief, though. With dividend stocks, the reason I am so focused on that is, one, I like getting something in return for being an owner. Oh, there we go. Here we go. All right. Well, man, I realized I don't have my headphones. 1 second. One of these days, I'll get my headphones on here. All right, hold on. Let's see. Okay, cool. There we go. My man, how's it going?
Happy Biden Day of Visibility.
Biden Day of Visibility.
He made it. Isn't it a day of visibility or something? He changed the holiday.
Oh, for Easter?
Yeah, it's now something like. Let me see what it says. Oh, it's Trans Day of Visibility. He changed it to that.
Sweet deal, man.
I agree. Screw Easter. Like, I've already had. How many chocolate eggs we need to eat?
Man, dude, I gotta admit, I'm so LGBTQ that I stopped eating saturated and unsaturated fat. I only eat things with trans fat in it. That's it. So that's how LGBTQ I've become. All right.
Yeah, there's no vegan eggs happening. Yeah, I got a Dominion dark lager going.
Ooh. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna have a beer with you right now. I'm gonna have a virtual beer with you here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go to my fridge. I'm gonna remove my headphones real fast. Hold on. All right. Nah, that sounded like a good idea though. Like beer, dude. Hell yeah. All right, see, you're drinking. What was it again?
I've got a dark lager from Vancouver Island.
Dude, that looks sick.
Yeah, it's got there's like the observatory near where it was brewed, and the little story about how the beer is as dark as the night sky.
Oh, hell yeah. Badass. I'm drinking
what do you got?
It's the same. Remember that Lycian from like last time? It was like a few months. I've had this in my fridge for quite a few months.
Where's that from?
Let's see. Altered Contact. We opened our doors in 1996 when bold art and music defined Seattle. We carry that same spirit in the same way we brew our beer. It's about taking chances, learning from our missteps, and changing perceptions. I think they're in somewhere in Washington. I think in Seattle, it looks like.
Oh, wow.
And I forget how much. There's like 6.8% alcohol content.
Oh, that's bigger. Yeah, mine's only 5.5. That's the other one.
Yeah, this is like one of those IPAs, though. It's like a kind of like a really hoppy, crazy IPA. But But I was like,
Yeah,
dude, I'll
do
join.
you
I'll
like
join a
those?
server.
Do you like the
cheers, by
Hawks?
the way. Just a quick cheers.
Woo.
Quick cheers. Yeah, it's a little bitter.
The UFC's in New Jersey tonight, so I got my New Jersey Devils jersey on.
Dude, get it. I forgot UFC's happening. What time are the rounds?
The main card started. We're a few fights in. A Canadian just won. So that's good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I usually watch it. I was catching up on my Gavin podcast too. I got behind on my censored podcast, so I watched like 3 of them.
I haven't watched Gavin in a while, man. Like, it's tough to find his content on YouTube, it feels like, because they shadow ban anything that's Gavin McInnes related. So
he's doing a lot on X, like Twitter. He's been showing like full episodes on there.
Really?
And, yeah, so follow him on there and follow Censored. Like, I think they showed their full Thursday episode on there for free.
Dude, sick. I love Gav. He's funny as shit. So like, I love him. I like that. I'm just surprised. You know who I'm surprised hasn't gotten banned yet is Tucker. On YouTube. On YouTube. Like,
oh really? Yeah, I haven't checked him on YouTube. I don't know.
I'm just shocked he hasn't gotten banned because usually YouTube is so hyper liberal. I thought they would just call him the enemy or something. And I mean, damn, it's wild. I was like, dude, Tucker hasn't been banned, which I'm glad he hasn't because he speaks the truth. But
yeah, you're right. He's got a lot of videos going on there.
Dude, he's ever since that Vladimir Putin interview, man, he's gotten more and more subscribers, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he got to like 10 million subscribers on YouTube. Because like he's revealing some crazy truths lately. He's interviewing some interesting people. I'm all on board of the Tuck train, man. You can't cuck the Tuck is all I gotta say.
Yeah, like I told you when he got fired from Fox, I'm like, all this means is that he's going to be bigger than before. You'll be able to see more Tucker than he did before. So.
Oh yeah.
And he's way more flexible now. Like he'll go on, he'll do a 15-minute interview, and then he'll do like a 2-hour interview, and then sometimes he'll just like do a monologue because you can do whatever you want now. He doesn't have like an hour show. He's got to fit to. So
I think he likes it that way. He seems like he's having more fun. He feels loose and he feels more honest, I think. I mean, I always thought of him as honest, but I always felt like he kind of had restraints when he was working for Fox or even back on the day when he was working for like CNN, like any network, any major network, man, really can put strains on a person's, like, if you're like really trying to speak some form of truth or report truthfully, at least. I feel like Tuck at least does a pretty decent job. He's definitely biased, obviously, who isn't, but of whatever one believes in. But like, I love Tuck, man. I think he's fantastic.
So dividends, what should I do? My niece really wants to go to this Green Day Pumpkins concert in September in Seattle. But I would have to like sell some dividend stocks, I think, to get the tickets because like I don't have enough cash right now.
Oh, so man, honestly,
what do I do? Should I hold on to my dividend stocks?
Well, my personal preference is never sell, buy and never sell, but life happens. So it's obviously I would usually say not financial advice, talk to a financial advisor, but I'll tell you what I would do. If I was low on cash, but I wanted to see a concert that I really wanted to see and it meant a lot to me, I'd sell a few stocks.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've already seen in the last 2 years in a row, I wasn't going to go this year. I was going to be like, I'll let the Green Day Pumpkins concert come and go, and I'll see him in 2025. That was my plan. But that was before I ran into my niece.
Yeah.
I think I told you that story. I hadn't seen her since she was like 4. And now we talk on the phone every day. She's big into music. So I'm actually going there in a week and a half. I haven't been to my hometown since 2016. And I'm going back in like a week and a half for like a day just to bring her a David Bowie poster I got her. And just to hang out for a day. I've got a car rented. I'm ready to go. But I don't know. We'll talk about it. Nothing's confirmed yet. My plan was to see Pumpkins next year because if they do another tour, but we'll see what happens. But they're in Seattle. It's not too far. And they're still good tickets. You can get a good ticket for like $400 US still, which is more like 600 Canadian. But
yeah.
So we'll see. Right now I'm hanging on to the dividend stocks. We'll see what happens. But I'm like Ian Lopuck, PPC, and he just did a dividend video about how dividends are a long and winding road. It's like he couldn't go to someone's wedding in the past because he didn't have enough money, and he was saving up on dividend stocks, and he's that's.
It's up to you though. It just depends on your temperament, man. If you're low on money, but this means a lot to you,
yeah.
And if you feel like you would regret missing it, ask yourself if you would regret it. That's an important thing I do. If I feel like I need to spend the money for something and I would regret not going to an event or getting an experience, especially with family, that's important, man. So I say, yeah, ask yourself if you would regret it not going. And if you feel like you would, then go and maybe sell some of those dividends. I think it's always good to invest, but it's good.
But I'm fired up because I just hit $30,000 in value for the first time. I just passed $30,000. So I don't want to go backwards. I want to keep moving forward.
Well, just remember, you can still move. How do I? This sounds like some cheesy philosophy shit, but I'm trying not to make it sound corny, but every sort of adventure, every sort of journey, you're always going to have moments where you have to take a few steps back.
Yeah.
To have a few steps forward in something else. That's okay because you're only one person, you're only human. Sometimes you have to take a step back on certain things just for a moment. You'll eventually keep going down that road again. It's only taking a few steps back. You can still keep going, but Well,
that's the thing. The thing is, I already did that though because I had to move in January. That was a big expense. It came out of nowhere. Like not just the moving, but all the new stuff I had to buy because I was moving out of sharing with someone to like my own place. I'm still buying stuff for that. And then also there was that. My rent changed. It went from $900 a month to $1,400 a month because I got my own place now. It's bigger, dude. So I had to factor that in. And then I got to pay a bunch of my taxes. Normally, like last year, I paid like $150. This year, because I was shifting around in different positions at work, and I think it wasn't taxed fully. So now I gotta pay like $850 in taxes before the end of April. So all these expenses came up, and then pumpkin September on top of it. It's like I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I might just hang on to what I got. I'll tell her, let's go see. We don't need to see Green Day. We'll see pumpkins in 2025. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, honestly, though, I say just do whatever you feel is the best thing to do, man. Like, I think everybody's honestly the master of their own domain when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And they got two opening bands, and then Pumpkins, and then Green Day, because Green Day's the main band in the tour. So I don't think Pumpkin's going to play a full set. They'll probably only play a 90-minute set, and a 2-hour set. So I'm going to tell her that. No, let's go when we can get a full Pumpkin set. Plus, I've only seen her an hour in the last 10 years, and that was when she came here and we met up. So I'll talk to her when I get to my hometown, which, by the way, my hometown, when I left there, had 0 breweries, and now there's 3 craft breweries. So I got to load up on beer and bring it back with me.
Yeah, it's kind of how Coos Bay is. We didn't really. Well, actually, we don't. We have a couple breweries here, I think, already. I can't remember. I know we have 7 Devils, but I could have swore we had another one in Coos Bay or something, but somewhere. But no, that's cool, man. Damn, I think it's good though. And hey, man, I say that. Because I don't like discouraging people from living life to invest. Yeah. I think that it's not. If you have to sell, sometimes you gotta sell. I mean, I've had to do it a couple times in my life. So
yeah, I went to Pumpkins last year. I flew across the country, so I did that. Year before I saw him, and I went to a hockey game. So I've been doing some stuff, but it's just I don't know. The problem also going to the U.S. is my only phone that I have is my work phone that I get free from work, and you're not allowed to take it across borders. So I would just for a month have to buy a used iPhone because you can't get concert tickets anymore. They only give it to you on your phone. So I have to have a phone to get the concert tickets. Ticketmaster won't give you something you can print out or a paper ticket. You can only have a phone ticket.
I was gonna say if you have so your only phone though is through work, right? Like the only phone that you have currently.
And they say you're not allowed to bring it across borders anymore.
God,
So,
yeah.
I'd have to buy like a used iPhone for like a month. How much do they get like a used iPhone for?
Well, you don't have to even buy an iPhone, dude. I have a Google Pixel 5 that I got.
All I need is something to get the Ticketmaster app on. So.
Oh yeah, anything that's Android based. This Google Pixel 5 is like you could get this on Amazon for. This is in US dollars, by the way, so it's probably a little bit different in the pricing.
Yeah.
But I got mine for like probably even cheaper now. You could probably get a Pixel 5 for at least under $200, as long as you have and you can get like, I don't know if Mint Mobile is a thing in Canada, but I think Mint Mobile's probably in Canada. Mint Mobile's cheap as shit, dude. You could buy a whole year plan for like $180. And just be
that's
like,
what Caleb Hammer always gets people on Mint Mobile. Like,
dude, Mint Mobile's the best, dude. Yeah. I'm all about Mint Mobile, dude. I'm a shill. I'm a Ryan Reynolds shill. I love Ryan Reynolds. Like, I
get a phone for $200. I have to get a month plan. Maybe that's like $100. I don't know. But anyway, that's just all to go to the Seattle concert. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Then I got to get a hotel. Got to get a hotel for probably 2 nights. Probably go the day before. It's easy to get down there though. There's like trains, buses, planes, cars. It's not hard to get. It's only probably a few hours from where I'm at to get to Seattle. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. There's still good tickets, but it's at the baseball stadium, the mobile where the Mariners play. But,
it's Safeco Field, or it used to be Safeco. Now it's
I think it's T-Mobile's Park or something. T-Mobile.
Yeah, it's T-Mobile. I keep calling it Safeco because I forget it's now T-Mobile. But yeah, you're probably
playing at the soccer stadium in Portland where the soccer team plays.
So if you're wondering if something seems a little bit different, I have my webcam positioned a little higher. I have 2 monitors.
Pills? I see pills.
Oh, this is just vitamin C supplements and vitamin D.
Nice.
I take it's a little cloudy here in Coos Bay, man, usually. So I have to get a little bit of extra vitamin D sometimes just to feel better. But
so what's going on with dividends? It's like, I think I figured it all out. Is there any info I'm missing? Like, I think I figured out dividends.
If you really want it in a nutshell, if you want to take a step back, what dividends really are is, I mean, you could look at it from this point of view. I'm an individual and you've invested in me, right?
Yeah.
You invest in me. You're invested in Michael Garza as a company. And I bring in, I don't know, $10,000 in profit, right? After all is said and done, after I've paid off all my expenses, after I've paid off whatever, I'm $10,000 of profit every quarter, let's say.
Yeah.
And I can choose, since you're my shareholder, how much of my earnings I can give out to my shareholders.
Yeah.
Let's assume that I am also a shareholder in my own company. So, and then you're a shareholder in me. I am going to disperse a certain amount of those earnings to the shareholders, which would be you and me in this instance. And that percentage of the earnings will be 10%, 20%, 30%, maybe 40%. It just depends on how I am as a company.
Yeah.
So there are some companies that give out a lot of money, a lot of their earnings. Like Coca-Cola gives out like, I think 70% of their earnings to shareholders. Like it's huge. That's incredible. So if like they have really good earnings, they're gonna put out a sexy dividend.
Yeah.
So the only thing I think you might be missing is always keep in mind that you're gonna get taxed on any dividend you receive.
I don't get taxed. They're all in a tax advantage account.
Right, I forgot about that. If you're a normal weirdo like I am, I don't know why I said normal weirdo. That's a contradictory statement right there. But if you're a weirdo like me and you just have a brokerage, you're gonna get taxed. But since you're in a tax advantage account, you don't get taxed for any of your dividends. That is sweet. I think when it comes to dividends, I don't like reinvesting in the same company. I know it's popular. It's a popular belief to reinvest the dividends you receive from one company and just put it right back into the same company. But I don't know. There's other companies out there that I want to gain exposure to remain even more diversified. So I like to use my dividends to buy more companies that I haven't purchased yet. that's my personal philosophy. It's my way, but there's so many ways to invest. There really are. I try to tell everybody, don't marry a single concept. It's okay to change your mind. Sorry about that. It's okay to change your mind on a concept. I've throughout my investing life, I didn't really have a true compass. I had to really read a lot of books on it. I had to watch a lot of videos on it and really understand what investing was all about. And I don't get into dividend stocks just because they pay a dividend. I get into those companies because they have really good earnings, or they're really well managed, or they have really good products, right? And you're really getting into it to be an owner. And I think as long as you remember that you're trying to be an owner, that's the most important thing. You're trying to own something that respects you. And I think a dividend, and this is a weird way to look at it, I think paying a dividend to your shareholders is a sign of respect to your shareholders. I really do. I see it as kind of a badge of honor that, hey, we are a profitable company and we're not afraid to disperse our profits to our shareholders, but we still use our profits towards the company itself to make it grow. We buy more assets, we buy more things, blah, blah, blah. So I'm a little wary of some companies that pay way too much of their dividend to the shareholders. Like Coca-Cola is an exception just because they're a behemoth. They know who they are. That's another thing. I think companies that know who they are really important. Coca-Cola knows exactly what they're all about. They are a beverage company. They don't just sell Coca-Cola. They sell other sodas. They sell other products. And so what I'm trying not to go on any long diatribe here, but I want to just say that your focus should be think like an NFL owner. Think like, those NFL team owners, those NBA owners, those hockey team owners. How do they think? They want to gather as many assets as they can. They want those assets to be profitable, preferably, so that way they get a little bit of chunk of the profits. And that's it. So think of dividends as just getting a profit share in a sense. But it is a profit share that you luckily don't get taxed on. So I think it's really cool that you get to take advantage of that, actually.
It's interesting. I was gonna say it's interesting. I don't invest in any stocks, even if I like the dividend, that have like multi-year, let's say 10, 20-year downturns in the share price. I'm okay with steady depending on the yield, or I want to see the share price go up over time. But there's a lot of people who do, like this guy named Gary, who's he's the dividend monster on Instagram, and Ian's interviewed him a couple times, but he's on like a suicide run with these dividends. Yeah. But he's retired from his job early. I think he's in his 40s, and he's making, like, this month he made $7,000 this month in dividends. And like usually he'll make like 3, 4, 5, sometimes 7. But he's into like split share corporations, closed end funds, these kind of mortgage-backed securities, business development corporations that give out risky loans to like small business individuals, but they pay like a high interest because of that. But he's into that. These are all high yield items, and he's got like 30 or 40 or 50 of them all going at the same time. But for most of them, all the share prices have decreased over time and will continue to until maybe they're worth nothing. But I think what he's thinking is, look, by then I'll be in my 60s and my Roth IRA kicks in or something, and I'll have some money there. So I think he's just he doesn't care about that. I'm just going to burn out these like high yield funds where the share price keeps going down, and I'll just live off the cash, and who cares what happens if I'll be dead. So.
We have another enter in the arena.
Yeah,
this is always skeptical, by the way. Let's see. I'm curious. I've always skeptical. Welcome to the three-way.
Yeah, for sure.
Who is that on your picture? Is that Kate from John and Kate Plus 8 on your logo?
On my logo, no. That is
a blonde-haired woman.
That is Elon Musk with a Karen haircut. And Elon has a Karen haircut, and in that picture, he's saying, "Let me speak to the manager of California."
Roasted. Just roasted Gavin Newsom.
It's been there for like 2 years. That's how it's been. So Yeah, I found Garza probably 3 months ago, and I found his content to be really refreshing because I've always been this Bitcoin naysayer as well. And I'm drinking my Trulies with you boys. Not quite beer, but you know
That's
what?
okay.
Pussy.
We don't discriminate. We don't
It's okay.
discriminate.
It's pussy beer. It's fine. It's all right.
I drink
So
White Claw. No, you're good.
White Claw, Truly, you know.
I drink that. I drink all those. I like seltzer water, man. I like it.
Yeah. When I drink real beer, it screws with me. So to make a long story short, I'm a Bitcoin skeptic. And so we've gone back and forth on some, like, we've just absolutely blown down the Bitcoin bullshit before in the comments. And so I really wanted to just, I just played with the settings on here and I was like, okay, I'm here. So, I don't know. I just wanted you guys to maybe bash Bitcoin and talk about what the future interest rates look like for what could correct the situation where I truly think the interest rate should go up to make it more painful for people because we live too well for efforts put into the market, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah. Oh, I see exactly what you're saying. In fact, when interest rates are too low, everybody just borrows money and then puts it into assets and just inflates all those asset prices to the moon. Unfortunately, I think that there is a balance of too high of interest rates and too low of interest rates. There's got to be a special in between.
Yeah.
And this is why I think we need AI to become a think tank. We need AI to look over all the data and then make AI determine what the best, most ideal interest rate is for humanity when it comes to finances. Because I don't know if human beings can, because I have biases, you have biases, somebody who loves interest rates low has biases, some that love high. I say an AI that can really look at all the data, because AI can look at more data than we could ever look at in ever. So like if you use artificial intelligence as a think tank, you can maybe get AI to come up with the ideal interest rate to make it to where it's not too low, not too high. It's almost like trying to figure out how much is too high to tax, how much is too low to tax, I would love to see AI come up with a formula.
I've got another question to propose to you here.
Mm-hmm.
So if we talk about fiat currency, we talk about Bitcoin, and we talk about gold-backed or asset-backed currencies, what do you think the solution is to our current impending doom of hyperinflation, which is legitimate? What do you think the solution would be ideologically?
Ooh.
Cut spending. You got to cut spending. Cut government spending.
I like that. It's a good answer, but I think I would probably.
It's not even an answer. It's a question. I think you're a smart guy. I haven't heard very many people pontificate as well as you have and say and strike down Bitcoin and strike down things that you have. So I'll let you continue.
Well, here, let me just put it this way, and this is the way I look at it, because I try to take a step back when it comes to a lot of stuff and just kind of look at it for what it is, but also what it can be. With hyperinflation, because I think we're already to the point of hyperinflation in a lot of ways. We're like right there. I feel like we're right there. It's like the distance between the balls and the ass with that close. Try not to be too gross about this.
Or at the peaking point of the exponential growth.
Well, exponential growth of.
So you look at the bottom of the curve of the exponential growth and you see it begin to rise and you're like, oh, fuck, that's climbing to where we're talking about World War I Germany. Where, you take a grocery cart full of marks to the market to get one loaf of bread.
Yeah.
That's almost what it's like here. I walk out of the grocery store.
We're not quite there yet, but we're at the oh shit moment I'll stop.
Well, here's the
almost like that now.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem we have. The dollars, any currency is worthless, physical or digital, doesn't matter what it is, because it's not really backed by anything. Until we get back it by something, then it merits some value. Whoa, we are so close to hyperinflation, in my opinion. It's almost scary. Like, I really think that it could be even a week, it could be a month, where prices for everything will rise, because the dollar isn't worth anything naturally. It's the only thing that is saving our behinds right now and allowing us to get away with printing money the way we do is the fact that we are the world's reserve currency. That is the only thing saving our asses.
Mind. There you go.
Yeah. Say what?
The petrodollar. That's why we fought every war since the Gulf War, and why we are Saudi Arabia's proxy to maintain all oil in the Middle East, to maintain our reserve currency, the petrodollar.
Ooh.
That's our goal.
Damn,
that's so back. I did this with my fiance. We looked back at every single war that happened since we made allegiance with Saudi. And every war, you're like, what the fuck? Why are we spending X amount of dollars on X amount of conflicts over that period of time? And then you're like, oh shit, we got to come up with a false flag, fill in the blank.
Oh man,
it goes back deep. Man. What happens if the government switches everything to electric? Maybe we'll go to war over minerals.
We're just like China on the social credit system, and then you might have 10 million yuan, but the government doesn't approve for you to travel, so you're in your 15-minute city, bud. You have a house 15 hours away, you're in your 15-minute city, bud. You're not leaving, dude.
Damn, man.
It seems like everything is geared toward making like countries like the US into a third world country. So I think they're easier to control that way. Is that what's happening?
That's what I'm saying, is that if you are Davos, Switzerland, the meeting of all of the economic minds of the world, all of those that have been dispensed adequate amounts of currency to be whoever they are at that stage to speak their pontifications of bullshit on how they're going to modify the number of people on Earth to achieve their goals. That's their goal, because you've got these 10th generation, hundreds of millions of dollars people that are the first layer. You've got these sycophants that go below that go there to try to pontificate and blow up their own Ponzi's, try to get their own little hedge. Seriously, it is very difficult to create real wealth. It takes many generations of insistent effort and real value to that generation, and then that generation compounding on that one.
Oh yeah.
Real value. And we're so far disconnected from how real value is created because we're short-term minded. And we are also not only short-term minded, but we have this, every product is dispensable and not valued at a long-term perspective. Everything that we buy that's consumer goods. I'll stop. But
no. I'm listening, man. Now don't feel like you even have to stop, man. Dude, Tim and I, we're loving this, man.
It's like Garza says, though, buy less products, invest more. That's what you can do. You can invest more in stocks, buy less products.
And I would say that buy land. I bought, so 4 years ago, I bought 14 acres in an undisclosed state for $80,000. I had a portfolio that was doing well, and I said to myself, would I rather have that $80,000 in cash, or would I rather have $80,000 in a piece of land? And this was 2021 when the market was blowing up. I said, you know what? At the time I was renting, I didn't have a home. And I said, what would I rather have that in? A piece of land. Because there's nothing more. It's not negotiable. There's the deed. So I know I want you guys to talk because I was trying to get you teed up to talk about what your perspective was.
Oh man,
Garza says cash is trash.
I really do believe
Right.
that cash
Right.
is trash for sure. Assets are everything. Assets are everything, and land is an asset.
You
Honestly,
talk about hyper diversification. What's your thought on there's got to be a boundary on that.
I actually have a boundary list. This is where a lot of investors and I disagree, and this is going to be fun. I have no boundary on how diversified my portfolio can be. Zero.
So you're in Bitcoin.
Okay. So I first off don't like crypto, but I did get into Bitcoin really early and I never sold. I still haven't sold my Bitcoin, but I bet against it all the time.
What year did you buy in at what dollar amount?
Ooh, let's see. Because it went from about like, so I got like three, because I went through a bit of a gambling phase in like 2018. And I got it when it was like one point like $4,000 per Bitcoin, and I think I bought like $300 worth of it at that price. So it went up quite a bit. But I don't even know what it's at currently. It's like in a Coinbase account, so I never check it. But so what I do though is I never sell it, but I use that as a form of collateral to bet against. So I bet against Bitcoin because I don't believe in it. I bought it as a pure gamble play, and I didn't expect it to go back up. that was hilarious. So there's no risk for me betting against crypto, for betting against Bitcoin. Bitcoin could go up to the moon. It can go up to $10,000, $100,000, and go to $1 million. I would just get rich off that, to be honest. But
yeah. Quick question for both of you.
But I bet against it though.
What's
heavily.
Your backgrounds and work?
Oh, Tim, you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, that's one of the interesting things I found about investing is it's kind of like the mixed martial arts. Like everyone's got a different background. Like, someone's judo, someone's karate. Like investing, like I know someone is in real estate, someone's a behavioral analyst, Garza. You'll tell them what you do. I'm government deep state. I'm just a government bureaucrat. I got like a humanities degree and I ended up in there. But that's because my life was messed up. I was just sort of homeless. But I made it back to school somehow and got a degree. And then, so I'm just a low-level government employee. But Garza's got a couple things going on. But that's what's cool about investing is everyone has like a different background. It's like you get like so many perspectives.
That's fair. So are you able to talk about the nature of your work in any way?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
No, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Well, I just work for a government department. I won't say which one, but it's just paperwork, basically. It's one of those email jobs that they're trying to replace with AI.
Any level of specificity to that in any way?
People apply for grants. Either kind of like grants to do projects or, it's hard to explain, but we approve or not approve grants people do. That's one of the things I do.
Okay.
It's hard to explain, but it's just basically government bureaucracy, paperwork and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're not under multiple top secret clearances.
No, I do have a secret clearance, but it's like the most, like the smallest. It's like the shortest one. So.
That's like fair. You get access to a small file document room or something.
So I got a key. I got a key that lets me into a thing.
Garza, continue. What's Garza doing?
Oh, okay. So what I do is I do a couple things. I've been doing customer service over the phone and over email and over chat for about 11 years now. I've been doing that for about 11 years. I'm surprised I didn't realize I had the temperament to do it because I thought I would quit the first year I did it. I found out I was really good at it, so I just kept doing it. I've been with the same company for about they've been through a couple changes, but been with them for about 11. Same company for about 11 years, but I do DoorDash on the side, just to make money, and also just in case I decide I just don't want to do customer support anymore. I guess at least customer support over the phone and stuff, because I'm surprisingly a good delivery driver too. But I was shocked that I was even decent at that.
I have a question for you. I've worked in financial sales. I've worked in the hospitality industry, hotel, restaurant, etc., bartender, from soup to nuts. I'm an electrician, and I would tell you, for the amount of effort necessary in the return and the possibility of future career, electrician, HVAC, plumber is tremendous. It's unbelievable. I was in what I thought was a coveted position without the beard, unrecognizable 5 years ago. And now I'm an electrician, loving my life. And so I have to preach that, because I feel like that's something that I've worked in the realms that you've worked in. And if you want to create the capital, you have, I know guys that have 2 employees that are grossing $500,000 a year in specialty electrical work. And so that's my spiel on that.
No, actually, honestly, having some sort of trade goes so far, man, in a lot of good ways, man. How long did it take you to become an electrician, though? Overall, like how long was the training? Did you like go through? Is this like an apprenticeship, and then it took like a few years or something?
Yeah, this is the most important thing for people to hear. I hope people that watch this get to hear this. And I have many people ask me a question: do you have to go to school? You don't. There's 2 routes. You have open shop, they teach you on the job, and they move you up as they see fit. If you go union, you get locked in politically, even, and you have to follow the lockstep, but you get paid more at the end. With an open shop, you get paid well. You have your on-site training, and you are in a position after, it took me a year and a half, depending on how intelligent you are. I'm not a genius and I'm not stupid, but I was able to get to a van in a year and change from an apprenticeship position.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Damn, that's not bad.
Well, I'll tell you the numbers. In that year and 2 months, I went from 18 to 30 plus an hour.
In just a year?
Starting at $18 an hour in a undisclosed Midwest city.
Oh, that's fine.
I went from 18 to 30 plus an hour in a year.
Oh my God. That's awesome, man. Like,
I'm not special. I'm just speaking to the opportunity of that. You got to be willing to dig deep and to do the work. And it's difficult work. And it's work that nobody wants to do. Attics, crawl spaces, etc. Plumbing, HVAC are the same thing. You're just getting what is a necessity to living to who needs it. And that demand will never fall. If you need, this is getting back to like most basic economics. If you want to talk about a business to be in the high and the low, you want demand constantly. My parents thought I would have lost my job because demand has fallen so far, but we actually have not lost our demand at all. And we're in a recession.
Yeah.
We see it. We're in a very deep recession, and nobody acknowledges it. So I'll let you guys talk. I've been talking.
Maybe you guys can answer. What the hell's going on? Like, we have the same kind of problem here in Canada. I don't know if it's a problem, but what the hell's going on in the U.S. economy? Stocks are soaring. There's massive layoffs. There's huge inflation. There's mass migration, but other people are doing good. There's minimum wage. I can't tell where the economy's at, if it's doing amazing or if it's a disaster. So what's going on?
Garza?
Well, I'll just put one thing into perspective on it. the rising interest rates were the interest rates rose too quickly. That's my philosophy and why we're in my opinion, a real recession / everything's still going up. Like inflation's still there, even with these interest rates as high as they are. But I think the problem was, what's the term when? Give me a second. Like when you're in a pressurized environment as a human being, right? And you have to acclimate to let's say you're in a submarine for about a week, right? And then you have to go to the surface. You have to slowly adjust to the pressure by going into some sort of pressure chamber? Correct. Something like that. I feel like we didn't do that with inflation. We had low inflation, not inflation, sorry, low. We had interest rates. We had low interest rates. And then all of a sudden, we kept hiking and hiking and hiking so quickly. We didn't pressurize the right way. We didn't I'm so terrible at terminology. I'm sorry, boys. But I feel like we had a shock. And I think a shock happened because of the rapid rate in which interest rates rose. I don't think people handled it very well. I don't think anybody can. I don't even think I do. But that's my thought, though. And I think that's what's causing a lot of fear with everybody, just because things change so quickly. People really don't like change. We as human beings truly don't like change that much. And I think that when you go from one extreme to the other, it just gets kind of too much for most people to handle. I think that's why we're in and that's my 2 cents on it, though.
I agree with you. Tim, what's your thoughts? Are you in Canada?
Yeah.
Where in Canada?
I'm on the West Coast. Like I'm from Vancouver Island.
Thanks.
So I'm near there.
Of course. So what's your curiosity as an external person viewing U.S. news, I'm sure, on what you perceive is going on?
Well, first of all, most of my stocks are U.S. stocks, even though they're through the Canadian stock market. It's through like ETFs and other U.S. companies who are listed on the Canadian stock market for weird reasons. I got them because the U.S. economy it's a better investment long term. More people, more growth. Canada's tanking right now. Like we keep, it's a political nightmare. Don't invest in Canada. Companies are literally just packing up and leaving. Massive 150,000 small businesses have closed since COVID. Part of it was because the original COVID lockdown, and then everyone was hoping business would bounce back after that. So they took out all these COVID loans, and then business never came back because everyone just started working from home. So 150,000 small businesses have closed, so it's a nightmare. But with the U.S., I can't tell what's going on because it's like you'll see, this company just laid off 400 people. And then someone else is like, our company's moving to a different state. We don't want to be in New York anymore or something. But that's good for us because now we're going to do better. So I can't tell what's going on. I see massive layoffs. I see the stock market booming. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
No one can tell me. It depends on the news. Maybe that's just what's getting reported. Maybe the layoffs mean nothing, and maybe the economy's not really booming. I can't tell.
Do they mention any specifics as to why? What do you think? Why do you think most businesses are leaving Canada? What's your personal opinion, Tim?
It's too hard to do business here. Like April 1st, we're raising our carbon tax, which is like I call it the hippie tax. Which, by the way, when I was growing up, hippies weren't like a big deal. They would hang out in the woods and they made their own granola. Like I would see them, like when you drive by. And now they're in charge of the government and they're eating $140 lamb steak dinners. They're flying to Dubai on private jets for meetings. Like what happened to hippies? I never saw this coming. But yeah, they're raising the climate tax. That means everything goes up. And it's a weird thing. Here's what's going on in Canada. We have it called a carbon tax, and the government's 8 out of 10 people will get more money from it than you pay in. Okay, I guess, but first of all, that's not true. They've analyzed it. Basically, they're taxing farms and industry and rich people a carbon tax. They take that money and they redistribute it to like quarterly checks to everyone. And it's like
tax farms and give it to everyone. Brilliant.
But the thing is, if it's a carbon tax, then why wouldn't you give it to the people you're taxing so they don't use fossil fuels anymore or whatever? Give it to them to use alternate stuff. Isn't that the goal, to lower the emissions or whatever? But they didn't do that. They're just like, no, we're just going to redistribute it randomly and we're going to call it a carbon tax. It's basically a communist tax. It has nothing to do with the environment or
Yeah, I
carbon.
mean, and as well as you both are aware of, is who is creating the most emissions. There's two countries that have a massive amount of production, things that produce whatever the fuck it is. It's CO2 or whatever. Russia and China are processing a massive amount of raw materials that produce byproduct of any kind, shape, or form, and they are polluting the environment. An individual has zero impact. And if you compound 10,000 people together as a unit, they are not even comparable to a business in China, one business in China, or one business in Russia, or one refinery in whatever country you want to say it is. The people that make what we use to create what we need to survive, those people are producing 99% of all taboo chemicals, and all of the elite liberal wealthy are not assertive enough to state facts because they're pussies, and they're going to fly to whatever country, state, group, whatever they have to do to circle jerk themselves into whatever agreement they're going to do, and we continue as businesses.
And not even politicians, like a lot of it's college professors. I've seen them locally. They'll give like an hour-long speech on the climate and carbon, everything we got to do. This one guy, I went up to him like, you just bragged on Twitter about taking your whole family to Hawaii on vacation. You take an airplane to the beach, and you're telling me I have to walk everywhere and I have to eat bugs from now on? And then there's like, well, it's hard to do anything individually. It's a group. So what are we doing? Are we taking private jets to the beach? Or are we eating bugs? Or I have to eat bugs and you can take a jet? Like, what's going on?
How dare you question the order of things, Tim? Get back in your place.
My grandfather was a political science professor, and he went to Germany in 1950 after the war, and he's a conservative political science professor, which is a very small percentage in the US. And he would tell you that we are under a ominous one-piece group of oligarchs that have dictatorial control, that maintain a facade that controls the dials of freedom and whatever you want to fill in the blank as in every country, and everybody's in agreement. And that's the way that it is. We are no longer, even the US, in a traditional monarchy, the individual is a subject to the monarchy. In every country in the world, we are now subject to the unknown group of people that absolutely have dictatorial control over every aspect of how we live our lives.
And if you notice, know what they call it now? They call it global inflation. They threw that word in there because it is kind of global inflation. Because if you notice, right when COVID happened, they all went to that meeting in Europe and they all came back to their countries and said, yeah, we're going to be shutting everything down and spending a lot of money. That's where the inflation started.
That's Davos, Switzerland. That is
I think they went there, but they also went to England and did one or something. But it's like Sweden was the only one who did it. Sweden said, we're not doing this, and they're okay. But everyone else did it, and then now they can call it global. Because if one country said no, then like you all got to jump at the same time, because then they can point to that country. How come they don't have inflation? And now, if you notice, they used to talk about Sweden every 5 minutes as the example of how we should all live, and now they never mention Sweden anymore. Sweden has vanished off the earth apparently for progressives, but they call it global inflation now. Yeah, because you all agreed to bankrupt your countries at the same time.
I think the root of all evil is trying to tax away a problem. I think that the root cause of a lot of suffering, in my opinion, is government being too involved in businesses. When government got too involved in insurance, with health insurance, Honestly, I think health insurance is a problem. I think that if we had no health insurance, hospitals would be forced to have reasonable prices on anything, whether it's surgery or anything like that. The snake's head is insurance, no matter what. But
But here's the thing.
I'm going off on a tangent. My bad.
Here's what I asked Ian. Maybe you guys can answer me. Here's what I asked Ian Lopuck. Is it's like if you're an investor, like some people are big into index funds, ETFs. It's like you're going to own some companies you don't agree with. You're going to own some companies that you don't align with, like socially, politically, whatever. And it's like, but how do you justify that? Because like some of these people, like they're all about living well and like they're all holistic. I'm like, yeah, but you own defense contractors, you own tobacco companies, you own all this stuff you say you're against. You own Pepsi, you own Coca-Cola. So it's just like, because like one guy's big into sin stocks, and his point is, every stock is a sin stock. There's no getting away from it. So
I just figured it out.
Yeah.
Tim, you just inspired me because I'm woke and I love Joe Biden. I don't really. I always put Joe Biden 2024 on my thing on here, but I was like, you inspired me, Tim. I want a DEI only ETF. So I looked up on Google.
They have those. They got those.
Yep. I found the Calvert U.S. Large Cap Diversity Equity Inclusion Index.
Yes.
I am renouncing every other index, every ETF. I'm going to sell it, and I'm only going to get this one because I am a part of the DEI Biden brand. So just kidding. I'm only saying that so the YouTube algorithm will think I'm on their side. But
juice the algo.
I juice the algo by just talking about how much I love Joe Biden. So
well, you know what? We had an ESG ETF in Canada, and they shut it down because not enough people invested in it, and it went nowhere. So they just shut it down. But you know what ESG is? All it is big companies forcing this on everyone because they know smaller companies can't afford to do it. They can't afford to hire all these extra officers and implement this stuff like a massive. So it's just to crush smaller companies.
Who spearheaded ESG?
It was Larry Fink. Lawrence, he's the head of BlackRock.
BlackRock. God damn it, BlackRock.
And that ties into the real estate market.
Yeah.
Garza?
Well, I'm guilty because I invest in a lot of REITs, and I think REITs have become the problem, unfortunately. All these companies that are buying up all the real estate, and I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes not. But
pause for a second.
Yeah.
Garza, did you ever say what your primary source of income was? What your job was?
Oh, yeah, I kind of. I went very vague with it. So I guess my primary one, I get 40 hours a week. I do the call center job where I basically just do phone calls, emails, and stuff for a specific company. I don't like to mention the company, just because I know that the internet's cruel, and if they ever decided to hate me and decided to make my life miserable.
Do you have any side hustles?
Huh?
Do you have any side hustles?
I do DoorDash for about 10 hours a week.
10 hours a week on DoorDash.
Yep.
Okay. I know I already asked that. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll let you keep going.
No, but first off, you don't have to apologize on my show. I will let you know that I'm actually having fun listening to you and Tim, to be honest. This I was
gonna say I just got the one job at my income. I only make about $16.50 every 2 weeks. That's my full income. I don't even have any other side hustles. I did have another job a couple of years ago, but I left that. But that's all I make. But I try and invest about $1,000 a month. So because I've cut my living expenses way back. So how old am I?
Yeah.
I'm like 42 now. I started really late in all this. But like I said, my 20s were a complete write-off, completely messed up. I was just, at best, I was working minimum wage jobs most of the time. I've got a couple of better jobs here, but I was just drifting all over the place. My 30s, I started to make a comeback, and now finally in my 40s, I'm starting to build a bit of wealth. But it could have been a disaster. It could have been worse. So.
I understand.
I will say my other piece of income, though, that actually has been very successful is swing trading the Biddy ETF. It's like, I say I bet against Bitcoin. Well, I bet against the price of Bitcoin using the Biddy. And whenever Bitcoin goes up, I buy a lot of the Biddy because it does the exact opposite of what Bitcoin does. So it basically, the Biddy goes down in price. So I'll buy a whole bunch of the Biddy. And then what happens is Bitcoin crashes. And then I'll have like 20-30% gains, and then I'll sell a majority of that, so I'll make income there. So in a lot of ways, that income I get almost trumps my full-time income, oddly enough.
Yeah. When I asked the question and when I proposed that, ultimately, once you achieve a certain level of understanding, your primary source of income is a minor aspect of your whole plan. So
I will say it's consistent. It's consistent. Yeah. I have my consistent income and I got my variable income. My variable income comes from
when I got originally inspired, I was working at a restaurant making $12 an hour plus tips, and not that long ago. And I heard guys go on to the Dave Ramsey show, and they said, I made $50,000 a year for 35 years, and I'm worth $5 million. That I know in that little vacuum shell makes sense. But if you apply that mindset to whatever algorithm you're running, you get it. So that inspired me to do what I'm doing now. So
no, I lost my mind when I found out about investing. I was like, why didn't anyone ever tell me about this? I spent like
teacher. Yeah. I had a high school teacher beat me over the head with compound interest. I was in a public high school in the Midwest, and he said, do you know what the fuck compound interest is? What does it matter to you to invest this amount of dollars now at this age? For you to do that now through 40 versus 40 through 60, it doesn't matter if you do 40 through 60. The 20 through 40 is going to blow that money, and it's going to be insignificant if you tried in your 40s.
Yeah, no, those are your prime years. Like right now, mathematically, I should retire really with, I want to get to like a few $1,000s a month in dividends at age 60. That's all I'm going for, which, I'm on track to do that if I keep it up. But still, that'd be in addition to like a pension I might get. So that's all I want. But
income is income, as is my motto. Income is the outcome is my real motto. But income is important. So if you're getting income from dividends, honestly, multiple sources of income is really sexy. So if you can get multiple sources of passive income of any kind, it gets you juiced up, man.
Passive income is one of those things that people, if you talk about investment income, that's one thing. But if you want to elaborate on what you perceive as passive,
I call it active to passive. So like I actively invest, so that way I can have dividends come at me without me thinking about it. So that's the way I look at it. So I will never be like one of those guys I do believe in passive income though wholeheartedly, because I know you have to put work into things. Obviously, you have to put work into investing, you have to put work into your job. You still have to put work into life. But like passive income's real. As Warren Buffett said, if you're not making money while you sleep, I think you're not doing it right. Something like that. Some weird saying, but it goes along those lines. So I do believe that you can automate your income to a degree. You can make it to where money's coming at you. Not like, I'm not saying like you're going to have millions of dollars coming at you. But
if you got $50 million in the bank, what at 5%, what do you got coming into you in return? Just the return. So yeah. And you got, that's that Taylor Swift buck. I mean, you have that kind of money, you got $1 billion, you got 100 million, you got 50 million, you got 25 million. You don't have to worry about working.
But people still lose it. People lose $100 million. They blow it. They get lifestyle inflation. There's houses that cost $100,000 a month just to maintain that these people buy. And then, that's why the actors get to a certain age. Suddenly they all sell their mansions. They're like, they start selling jets, all this lifestyle. Then you got to have like an entourage. You got to have like 20 managers. So people blow all their money.
Diddy?
Yeah.
Did he did.
He was trafficking Justin Bieber.
Changing my name on here real quick.
He human trafficked Justin Bieber.
There we go. Diddy 2024 people.
Oh God.
Oh God. But I will say I think I'm I was thinking about it when Tim just said lifestyle inflation. I was also thinking like the other day, I was like, how come I've never fallen victim to lifestyle inflation? And I was like, I think that there's a part of my brain that's so autistic that because I'm pretty sure I'm on some form of the autism spectrum. I'm too fucking weird not to be. But like I don't care how people perceive me, and maybe that is an autistic thing. I don't know, but um, if that makes any sense. So I think I've never wanted a really souped up car. I've never cared outwardly. I try to encourage people not to care what people think about them, but it's tough to do because I've never. I think there's like I said, I think there's something wrong with part of my brain that makes it to where I don't, the part of that vanity part of the brain doesn't work, and which is why I have 10 credit cards and I only use like 2 of them. 8 of them sit in a drawer and they all have no annual fee, but my credit score is like 780. So like I don't know what I'm trying to say is like, and I feel like I'm flexing. I feel like I'm one of those motivational guys like, yeah, my credit score 780, bro. No, just kidding. But I don't know what I'm going off on more tangents. This is what I get for drinking. But
think about how insane it used to be. You never used to be able to invest. That's why everyone I knew growing up, their investment was their house. That was it. Because in order to invest, you had to know someone or knew someone. If you actually bought stocks, it's like a $50 fee, and you couldn't get any information. You'd have to order information from like New York to even know what stocks to buy. But now with the internet, it's just so much easier. I can do research all day if I want.
You're right. And Garza's whole thing really shining a light in my head, thinking about the true meaning of a credit score.
Mm.
What is a credit score? And why does it matter?
Well, first off, because I have a good credit score, I have a low car insurance payment. That helped a lot. That helped a lot on car insurance, believe it or not.
I'm just curious so I can understand this. What's the value of your car?
Let's see. The current value is 17,000.
What's the monthly insurance rate or the 6-month?
6 months. I only pay $555.
That's not bad at all.
For 6 months, for every 6 months.
That's
good.
That's very good.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, that's why the only reason I have a good credit score is not so I can borrow money at a low interest rate. Although it did allow me to get a really low interest rate auto loan, because I got it I got it during the higher interest rate time, but I still got it 6.5%, which honestly isn't that bad at all, to be honest. For me, it isn't, but
it's really that bad.
Yeah, and I use it pretty much for delivery driving. So it's like, and I've with all the delivery driving I've done with it, I've paid off nearly a third of it. I technically I should say I could pay off a third of it right now. I choose to really just honestly keep the money to the side just in case like a market crash happens, so I can invest during a bear market and stuff like that and all that shit. But
how old are you?
Actually, I always like to do a quick. I'm always curious how old people think I am. How old do you think I am?
I think you are 34.
Holy shit, I'm 35, but that is awesome. Yeah, I'm 35. That's wild. Most people think I'm a lot younger than I look. Like most people think I'm like 27 or 26. So
I think it's a combination of your intelligence and your maturity that makes me think that you're 34. So there's that.
I'm a wise man.
No. But like, look at your jobs, Garza. You do, you do the customer, service thing, and then you do the side hustle. Most people who aren't in investing think you have to be like a CEO to even know what a stock is. Most people I talk to, I try and get into it. They're like, I'm scared. This isn't for me. I'm like, I know this guy who just skipped the dishes. He's buying stocks. Why can't you buy stuff?
I want to tell you about one customer I've had. He was the most inspirational customer I've ever had. He was a diesel mechanic in his 20s. He took what he made This man had no money, no family money at all. Small little Irish guy. He took that money and he started a 1 bus, 1 ticket per person line across the US, wherever. And it was like A to B for a long time. And then it was A to B to C. And it was A to B to D. And it was just, A to B to C to D, A to B to C to D, etc. And that man is worth $250 million.
250 mil. That's awesome. Holy
He
shit.
lived in a $7 million house, and that's his primary residence. He has a house in like the Turks and Caicos, and it's like a $10 million house.
He started a bus line?
He was a diesel mechanic, hands on the ground, dirty hands motherfucker, and he grew himself to $250 million. He owns 9 different businesses and he's sole proprietor of all of it. He tells every guy that's highly educated what to do every goddamn day in his suit from his house.
Hey, that's what my dad. That's what my dad. I don't know my dad. I met him when I was a teenager. I haven't talked to him in 20 years. I found him during COVID. We talked for a bit and then we stopped talking again. But when I knew him as a teenager, he's worth about $50 million. Now apparently just retired. He's more like around $100 million. He lives in Laguna Beach, California, and he's got a house in Spain. He's got a house in Canada, other places. But he started out the same way. Grew up on a poor farm. And he started a construction company with just 1 machine, and he would like rent the other ones, and he'd start projects. And then he built it up into like 2 construction companies out of that, But he had to work a lot. It was like he's basically not taken a day off in 40 years. It was like 20 hour, like 18-hour days straight. So it cost him like 3 marriages. He's got kids like me. He doesn't really know sort of around. And but yeah, it's possible. If you know what you're doing, you can do it.
Yep. It's just an inspirational thing that I just fell into the moment of meeting this person. So
it's super awesome though, man. Dude, I'm honestly inspired just hearing that. First off, it's too bad. Honestly, Tim, I will say though, man, you said you've at least been able to talk to your dad and stuff like that and be able
I tracked him down, but we haven't talked in like maybe 2 or 3 years now, because it was the same kind of thing where I message him or call him, and I'd hear back like 4 months later, and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this again. but the point is, I heard he's just retired, and that's what he started out as, is just a poor. They literally had to sell their farm because his dad was an alcoholic and they lost the farm, so he kind of started with nothing. But he got some like government contracts to build roads to nowhere. It was like a make work program, and then it went into like actual highways and stuff later. But
interesting.
Well, just for your own sake, man, you said he's just now retired.
That's my understanding, but I haven't heard from him.
Well, he may be one of those guys that doesn't really reach out to people. I'm sort of like that myself. I'm so shitty with communication. Like I really am. It's the irony is I do jobs of communication, but I'm very shitty with personal communication. But I was gonna say though, just I always think, if you have the opportunity to, if he's got more time on his hands, maybe he would like to hear from you. I think it's always good. It also
brain on that.
Oh, one more time.
I was just going to say, pick his brain on the steps the risks that he took at certain stages to get where.
Well, he went insane. He went insane. That's how he got so rich. They got to a point where they had to sell their furniture and stuff like that when he was really young for food. And I think they had to sell like his sister's bike one day or something. And he completely snapped. And this is when he was really young, and he just went insane and decided he was going to be really rich. So that's kind of what happened. But a lot of these people aren't happy. Ann Coulter was talking about that. She knows a lot of billionaires. They tend to be just miserable people. Like they don't like their lives. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know a handful of people that are worth in the ballpark of $1 to $50 million. Probably, let's say 5. And some of them grew up on farms, and they had to keep the lights on. I have an uncle that was and was an undertaker from the time of like 14 years old. And he pulled bodies out of cars in a rural town. And he was taken under his wing by a man that showed him the business, and he gave him a very large portion of the business, and he kept the lights on when he was 14 at his house as a child, and he's worth $20 million. That's my uncle.
Oh, nice.
And that's just a man that he sacrificed everything. He didn't work 80 hours a week every day and put his family in jeopardy. He worked his 40, 50 hours a week, and he kept the relationships tight. And he showed people his value. And I'll just stop.
But that's one of the reasons most of my stocks are in the US as well. It's like when I was talking to my dad, he was in California and still working, and he told me as bad as California was, tax-wise and regulation-wise, he was still better than Canada, where he was working. So
maybe that's why businesses don't want to stay in Canada. If the tax are do they tax businesses up the ass?
probably, yeah. I mean, there's taxes, there's regulations, there's everything. It's just because we elected a moron, and it's just it is what it is.
Hey,
He's
don't
almost
talk
gone,
about
though.
my biological stepdad Justin Trudeau like that, you jerk. Just
It's almost over, but we'll see what happens.
Does Trudeau have the super old wife, or is that Macron?
That's Macron, yeah. That's why Candace Owens got fired, because she said Macron's wife is really a man. And Daily Wire's like, do you have any proof? And like, well, I'm going to get proof. And they got in this big fight. Stuff.
And you obviously know about Big Mike.
Big Mike?
Who's Big Mike?
Big Mike.
Michelle Obama.
Oh!
That's I'm not speaking to it, but it is a conspiracy that Michelle Obama is really Obama's very good friend from high school, who then transitioned to a woman who is now Michelle, and he was then named Michael at that time. That's
by the way, YouTube, before you try to ban me, because YouTube has tried to ban me for these things. My guests don't speak for the show, but I do agree with them. I'll just say that right now. But no, I'm afraid. I'm always afraid. Like, so YouTube is so weird. I have had videos removed and community strikes happen for like simple things like that. So I have to like say now, I'm just gonna say I love Joe Biden. He's number one. I love Obama. He's cool. Seriously, it keeps the YouTube algorithm off your stink trail
on it at all. I get it.
It's the only way to keep YouTube from making my life miserable is to say that I pretend that I love Obama and Biden. Anyway, but yeah, no, I've heard that conspiracy theory a few times actually.
It was a pure joke. It was a joke.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know sometimes, man. Some of those, like, when I say I don't know about those conspiracies, like, I think that some of them come from an odd place of truth. Like, I feel like some of them are a little far-fetched, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I've got kind of an Alex Jones mindset to a lot of things. Like, I'm just like, I'm kidding, by the way. So, sort of. You're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Elaborate.
No, but
well, you're in Oregon. Have you ever had to deal with Antifa? Do you like come to your town?
God damn.
I live in Oregon. Yeah. I don't live in Portland though. I don't live anywhere near Portland. That's Antifa territory.
You're in the socialist stock group. This is Oregon, Canada. It's like this is the socialist stock discussion.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Quick. So I'm going to list off like 5 states that you should move to, Garza, if you want to proliferate.
All right.
If you don't want the advice, I'm not going to give it to you. It's fine.
No, I honestly love hearing advice. So like it may
because I've heard from people in Oregon and Washington and like California, etc. Just I'm not even going to state any names. Just move to the Midwest. If you want to take your money farther than you could imagine, move to the Midwest of any kind.
Is the cost of living pretty low over there?
So I'm an electrician, so I'm telling you what I'm saying to you is not based on ego. It's based on purely one thing. I see people move to the Midwest that are from California, Oregon, Washington State, New York City, Washington, D.C., et cetera, and they're building multi-million-dollar homes here because they can get pennies on the dollar real estate here. And they can have an estate for $5 million. Where they live, it's $25 million. We're talking about that level of difference. So you've got Wisconsin, you've got Iowa, you've got Nebraska, Missouri, you've got Kansas, you've got Arkansas.
Yes, Arkansas. I'm listening down some of the Midwest ones real quick. Just kind of keep my options open for sure.
No, I'm not. Again, by no means, it's not unsolicited advice. It's just maybe even more just for prosperity of the people that get to see the video. If they're living in a place where their money is not going far enough, they need to move to a place, and unfortunately it will fuck me over because it will raise my cost for a home.
Yeah, you don't want an Austin, Texas situation. All the Californians that moved
where I live will never be Austin, Texas, because nobody wants to fucking live here, and it's unadulterated, and so that's the facts. And if you're willing to live like nobody else, you will live like nobody else.
I live in a coastal town that's pretty cold most of the time in Oregon, so it's like it's Coos Bay. I'm actually pretty gay for Coos Bay, to be honest. I am homosexual for Coos Bay. I love this place.
Yeah, but you could go to Iowa and have your own corn maze shaped like your face that you charge people to walk around it.
Have your own corn maze that makes you $100,000 a year, or some crazy number. I know you guys probably don't want to hear me say this, but whatever.
I want to hear. I love hearing this, man. Like I know I make a lot of weird faces and stuff, but that's just because I make weird faces. But I honestly,
but I get what you're saying. I totally understand it. But I'm saying if you put yourself in a position here and you leverage, like, let's say 1/10 of the amount of money that you would for real estate for a home there into farmland, and then you cash cropped it out to a guy that actually knew how to do the farming, you're going to be able to levy like 30% off this guy. And yields are going to be paid to you as the cash crop lender. Like, you're lending the land to someone.
Okay.
And he's going to pay you rent on top of yields.
I'm just thinking all that's my head. Let's see, rent on.
No, you're right. It's like I left my hometown because there was no work or money there. I live somewhere else now. But I would get in arguments with people, and they'd be like, "I'd be like, why don't you move to this province? They're hiring there." And because these are people with no jobs and no money. I'm like, why don't you move here? Why don't you move there? They're like, oh, but then you got to live in there. You got to live there, and it's not fun. And like, all you're doing is getting drunk in a basement playing video games. Like, you can do that there, but at least have a job. And it's like some people, especially on the West Coast, right? They don't want to move. They want to stay in their little fishing town. It's like, but you got no money and you're just sitting here doing nothing, and then you're complaining how broke you are. You got to move someplace where it's not as fun. Like, we got our own Iowas here that are just like fields and flat and everything. Yeah, but there's money there. You can at least have a life,
I'm lucky the cost of living's low here. The cost of living in Coos Bay is shockingly low.
Coos Bay?
Yeah. It's to me it is.
Okay.
Good. Have you ever been to Coos Bay before?
I'm not familiar with it, but I was going to Google it. What would you say for an individual to have a 1-bedroom apartment, total expenses paid per month would be?
Well, for me right now, I got a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, living room, kitchen. I pay $675 a month. So
total expenses paid.
Total except for electricity. I still have to pay my own electricity, but yeah, water, garbage, all that stuff is pretty much all paid for. I just have to pay electricity. Obviously, I have to pay my own internet and stuff like that. So
I used to live in the inner city, and I had the very same bill structure, and I had to get outside of that to grow, to be close to work. And I'm just saying, like he said, getting drunk in the basement can happen in multiple locations. But if you look at any metro, I want to live in the rural areas. I'd love to live in a fucking zero grid hut somewhere where I didn't have to deal with any motherfucker ever, right? I love that. But I can't make any goddamn money doing that. So I live 30 minutes away from the job in a metro location where I can afford to live, where anybody can come here and afford to live if they're willing to get their hands dirty. And that affords me the ability to maybe retire where I don't have to get close to the populace. So I get that. I'd love to be there again and not have to deal with the bullshit. But it's like, I just, it's hard to create the capital and the snowball from an island.
No, I see what you're saying. Like, and like I said, my primary sources of income are quite wild sometimes. So like, I do tend to have a little bit of extra cash than most people I know, only because of the way, just because I'm surprisingly, I think I'm just too financially aware for my own good. But like,
you are impressively financially aware. And you have the discipline that very few people, let's say less than 5% of people have.
I'm just a nerd.
But Garza,
I mean that in a good way. I'm a nerdy guy. This is, I read a lot of books. And this is gonna sound cheesy, but I do stand on the shoulders of giants to a degree because I've read a lot of Warren Buffett's work. I've read a lot of Charlie Munger's work.
You know where those two are from?
Huh?
You know where those two live?
Nebraska.
I do.
Yeah.
Get on that level, boy.
Omaha, baby. No, and it's smart. They're
Omaha,
smart.
I will tell you can stay in a 4 or 5-star hotel in Omaha for $250 a night and live like a king.
Damn, that's actually surprising. For a 4 to 5-star hotel, $250 a night.
If you want to stay in a very nice hotel in that city, you stay at the Autograph Hotel in Nebraska. Just spend a weekend there and feel it out.
That'd be cool.
The Autograph Collection, about $250 a night. I've done it before. I took a weekend trip there and just do the whole Nebraska thing. Do the whole Omaha thing. Do the zoo. Do that if you want.
It does sound kind of cool. I and honestly, there's a part of me that's tempted because I ain't gonna lie. Don't laugh too hard at this, but I do have a fear of heights. That's made it very difficult for me to fly, but I'm trying to get over that. So I think if I have a goal in mind and I go to some place like Nebraska or something like that,
that's what they get Greyhound buses for.
That's true. I could always take.
And they're going to take a comeback after Boeing takes a fall, so we got to bet on their fall. No, seriously. What? No, talk about that. You two.
Well, first of all, Nebraska's a 23-hour drive from Coos Bay, so you can make it. That's like 2 days.
That's fine. But let's talk about the Boeing conspiracy.
Well, it's not a conspiracy. There people have said, yeah, they're cutting corners. They're and they're trying to hide it. But I don't understand why they're trying to hide it. Like, why are they cutting corners to begin with?
That makes no sense to me either because they've been such a well-established company for so long.
Well, the conspiracy I heard though, Garza, was that here's what I heard. Here's what someone told Gavin on the inside is that they want to Trump's private jet is like a Boeing jet, and they want to kill him. So by having all these accidents leading up to it, when Trump's goes down, they'll be able to say, "Oh yeah, we've been having a lot of mechanical failures lately. Nothing to see here. Next." I think that's what they're trying to do.
That whoever came up with that conspiracy, that's a stretch for sure. But dude, if that shit came true, holy shit. That's all I gotta say. Oh my god.
Trump's jet is a 767, I believe. And I think it was made like years and years ago.
So it was one of the earlier ones that didn't have all the mechanical issues.
So what happened is from my understanding, and I still fly occasionally, and I'm never on a MAX aircraft. 737 MAX was they took the 737, which was like a 150 person aircraft, and they kept stretching it. And so that created some issues that created like I want to say like 3 total losses or something. But, and then you have the blow door off situation with Alaska Airlines. But I think that the main thing with Boeing is that I've heard that as an electrician, I can imagine a culture at Boeing where the whistleblower that was killed, that he said he was killed, but it was stated as a suicide.
Oh yeah.
So he stated that there were rampant drug use and cover-ups like fake piss tests being issued. And so you have other whistleblowers other than the guy that was killed or killed himself, up to you to be the jury of. There were people stating that there was a rampant drug culture at the production facilities, and that the production facilities had a culture of the products that were available for them to install in the aircrafts were defunct, and they had like a defunct closet of shitty pieces, and they were under so much pressure that they would go to the closet to get the pieces to make the production numbers, and then they would not have any penalties for that.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dude.
I'll stop.
Dude, this is fascinating to me. I had no idea about any of that.
I'll stop. So there are multiple of them, and I'm going to be done after this. There are multiple people that worked on those production lines that said that I will never step foot on X aircraft, fill in the blank, and I will never fly on them because I saw the production.
That's fucking wild to me. Any of that? Don't they have checks? And I could have swore they had like some sort of checks and balances. I just
Well, they
that
have lobbyists.
Blows my mind.
They have lobbyists in DC.
Yeah.
And they have people in the FAA. Like multiple people in DC, multiple people in the FAA.
But I understand, what's the benefit to Boeing to cut all these corners? Is it just a money thing?
Boeing's a military contractor.
Yeah, but for their commercial planes, like what's
that?
the benefit?
That's a side piece to the main deal. When you talk about military contracts, you talk about Northrop Grumman, you talk about Lockheed Martin, you talk about the main military contractors. If you were to dig into the contracts and you were to look at the numbers and you were to look at the beneficiaries of the contracts and the lobbyists that were involved, you will find what you want to see.
The government doesn't. You don't have to look. They're not even hiding it. They said in this last budget, they said, yeah, we're spending like $9 trillion, and a lot of it's for Ukraine. But don't worry, because all the people who make the weapons in the U.S. are going to benefit, like Raytheon. So they're just saying it now. This is going to create jobs.
Yep, you're right. And I invest in Raytheon.
Yeah, it's a good dividend. It's a good company.
And that's dark. You talked about Marlboro stocks. I'm not invested in, I don't remember the actual name of the stock, but the name that's associated with Marlboro. I'm
Altria,
not,
maybe? Altria?
I think it's either Philip Morris or
it's Philip Morris International.
Yeah.
I'm not invested in Philip Morris, but I am invested in Raytheon. But I want you guys to keep going on that. That's my main point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just so blown away at all this Boeing shit. Like, it's just like, how can a company like that, which I always thought was reputable and had their shit together, be doing what they're doing? Like, how is it? I mean, how do they get it? Like, I understand that they probably want to meet quotas and stuff or whatever. I get that. But, like, at the same time, if you don't meet them, you don't meet them. You don't sacrifice quality to meet a quota.
Have you seen unfettered greed in a marketplace or your business or wherever you work?
Have I personally
seen unfettered greed as a manager pursuing unfettered greed, or an owner of a company you work for pursuing unfettered greed?
I can think of a couple instances for sure.
So you put a situation where somebody is a CEO or whatever, and they have the burden of the stock price on their head, and they have a certain set of circumstances in which they make decisions to momentarily, in the short term, produce a higher stock price. You can go back, way back, if you want to watch. There's like aviation accidents, like Mayday Aviation, and there are multiple instances where multiple manufacturers have made multiple obvious, easily fixable mistakes of training, of repairing certain things. And you could talk about the Ford Pinto as like your like head example of this type of mentality. That is what has been the cornerstone of this type of greed mindset mentality of a manager. I'll let you go.
Oh man, just a part of me is just in a little bit of shock. I mean, I get, first off, human beings naturally are greedy. We're all greedy. Some of us have more to work with than others. The question that one asks themselves is, do you choose morals over greed? Because everybody's greedy. We all have had moments of greedy moments. I don't care who you are, everybody's fallible. But there's got to come a point to where, like, you know, if somebody's in that position, especially at Boeing, even though they have, you know, if the share price goes down, it goes down. That's the way I look at it. If the profits, if the earnings go down, they go down. It's, I don't know. It just,
But that's you know, some greed would be refreshing. You know,
they've got stock options. They've got 1/3 of their total compensation plan in the stock option. 1/3 of it.
But yeah, average. but in the long term, though, people are going to lose faith in Boeing. Like, that's the bad thing. But what they've done is made a long-term folly.
Are you familiar with the Enron scandal?
Oh God, freaking Enron! I'm familiar. I don't know all the details, but I know it was a very, very bad situation.
You got Ken Lay and you got Andrew Fastow. There's two guys. They pulled all the strings. And to make it short, those two guys were doing something on a level that they weren't really providing a traditional value like Boeing was, but they were putting themselves in a position where they were lying to stockholders at the very end. And so if you're in that position, it reaches a point where the train can no longer stop itself because its gross tonnage has hit such a weight, and the ability for it to stop cannot stop. And you have these people resigning from their positions at Boeing. And you have attorneys that represent the guy that supposedly killed himself, saying that if Boeing does not recover and apologize for its positions, then it will fall. Totally. I'll stop.
Well, Elon Musk said that Boeing prioritized DEI over safety. So I don't know if that's what happened. Maybe they were hiring managers who weren't qualified. That's why things were being checked. I don't know. I wasn't there, but just that,
if that is the case, we got to go back to a meritocracy, man.
But I would kill for some greed. Look how many companies said, you know what, we don't want to make money anymore. Like Budweiser, Target, Planet Fitness, all these companies just flushed, you know, hundreds of millions in value. Disney away because they want to be. We want to push a political agenda, and we don't care about money anymore. Screw money.
And what did they profit of that?
I don't know. It seems like they lost a lot of money. Maybe people got out, but then before they could do it. But it always comes down to some marketer, like their marketing executive or an HR manager says something insane, and hundreds of millions vanish. It's like I would kill for some greed. Give me a greedy company, something I can invest in that is going to screw themselves over.
In a position of buying and selling stocks, that's correct.
Yeah, so all these companies sabotaging themselves. If Boeing is just trying to make money, that'd be refreshing. If that's all the screw up is.
Boeing, you're a Canadian, but Boeing has been in bed with the United States military-industrial complex for over I would say probably 70 years plus or more. The B-52 bomber, and you can continue down that line. I don't know, and I will not speak on something I don't understand. But they have been in bed with the United States military-industrial complex, and you're talking about less than 5% of total business allocations being put towards consumer aircraft travel. And then you've got the Airbus CEO speaking out against Boeing. And he has spoken out against Boeing. The Boeing CEO, I believe, stepped down like within the last 3 days. And then you put yourself in a world monopoly of Airbus products. And then what does Airbus have in their mindset of their what is their reason to maintain the level of safety that they've maintained if they have no competitor? Who's going to come out with a barrier of entry? The barrier of entry to go into aircraft manufacturing is $150 billion.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the highest barrier of entry? Who's going to come into that marketplace?
There's a monopoly on it, man. You can't. When there's a monopoly, it's tough. It's the moat theory. If a moat is wide enough, there's no company that could break through.
But in the early days when the U.S., I know this is ideological, but back when the U.S. was young, we had real monopoly busting proponents. And if somebody were to say, I know, idealistically, which they would be killed now because we are beyond that frontage. But if somebody were to say, we're going to take whoever out of the market because they are a monopoly, they're gone.
Man,
I'll stop.
That's wild. Sometimes it's wild to think about, man. It's weird to think that we live in this sort of, what's the term of, and I feel like there's a term for it. I call it multiple kings ruling the same land, if that makes sense.
Multiple. It's an oligarchy.
Okay, that is a real
oligarchy
term.
Or an oligopoly, which is the same. It's multiple oligarchs.
Well, that's what U.S. has. U.S. has an oligarchy. It's not really democracy. It's not really a monarchy. It's kind of an oligarchy.
So we definitely got an oligarchy going on then. That's for sure. And I think I've been in denial about it for a while. I'm not gonna lie. I've been in denial about the fact that we're in an oligarchy, but sometimes I just have to admit it.
An oligopoly, definitionally, from Investopedia, is a market structure with a small number of firms, none of which can keep others from having significant influence. And so it's basically a monopoly, but all of them are in favor of one another.
Yeah, but it's kind of decentralized. Like Curtis Yarvin always talks about this, a decentralized oligarchy where every corporation, university, media outlet is all working in the same direction, even though no one is specifically directing it that way.
They aren't all aware of it. I'll let Garza talk.
Oh, no, just a quick thing. My boy, William Bentley, who is my boy White Eagle, he's from time to time he's on the show. He's my homie. He said feudalism, different castes. I'm trying to see what exactly was feudalism back in the day. That was like
you had a king, a baron. You were on a farm, and you didn't really own your land. You just kind of worked it. But
okay. I'm trying, as I couldn't remember exactly.
It's like the first 15 minutes of Age of Empires. That was feudalism.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But I don't know. They want to make everyone poor. Like I think that's the attack on the plains. They want 15-minute cities. They want everyone to be broke.
Well, so I mean, the best way to keep everybody as servants is to make them work for you. So
that's why I never agreed with the depopulation conspiracy. It's like, why would you want control over 1 billion people when you can have control over like 7 billion? Wouldn't you want control over more people than less?
If you have more people and they're all
just because there's more people doesn't mean that you can have more smarter people. It's just more dumb people. They're just as easy to control. You want to have more people that you're in control over than less.
Well, that's a scary thing though, because the more you control, the more of a chance of a rebellion. You want to have.
There's no chance of rebelling. People aren't going to rebel against anything. I wouldn't worry about that. I would just more control over people. But there's only so much you can spend your money on. You get to a point where you're a multi-billionaire. There's not enough hours in the day to spend all your money in. So what's the point? I don't know. But they don't think of it they don't think that way though. They're just like, no, we'll figure it out later. Just give me the money now.
Well, what's the old saying? It's not about sex; it's about power.
But
it's about power. That's a very, I can't remember what that's quoted from. But
consumer level investing, like what I'm doing, and pretty much what you're doing, is it's kind of a life hack. It's like, fine, if this is the system you're doing, go nuts. I'll just to give me a little piece of it. I'm good. That's all I want.
I'm basically investing in the Matrix. If you think about it, like
good enough.
As Andrew Tate would say, the Matrix. You got to drink your water and get a Bugatti.
But all these people, all these college students and socialists complaining about capitalism, I'm like, you can have capitalism too. Just buy a piece of Pepsi and you'll get paid too. Everyone's allowed to participate. And they're like, well, I'm poor. I don't have any money. Well, stop being poor. Start investing and stop blowing your money on piercings and tattoos.
I think the other thing is in our society is we're all afraid to look bad. We're all afraid to look bad for a moment in time. And I think that's because and I'm not going to totally blame social media on this, but social media has increased vanity by 1,000%, maybe 10,000%. I should say increased the need to be vain about things.
But even just like Garza, you don't spend money on hardly anything. Like you've cut expenses way back. Like you rarely splurge on stuff. And I've tried to become the same way, but you see it. Like I know people who won't hang out with me.
I tell people it's because I don't watch the news. I have social media, but I don't use it. It's like I tell everybody, I've got 10 credit cards, use 2 of them. I have all the social media accounts. I have none of the apps. Like I make it to where I don't have access to any of those things. I have them, but I don't use them. And that helps me keep my mind decluttered, I guess.
Garza, I have a question.
Oh yeah, go for it, man.
What inspired you to start your YouTube channel?
A lot of it was out of spite in what I was seeing. First off, there's many reasons, but one of the 2 main reasons was this. One was definitely grifters. I saw a lot of guys who were teaching kids to be gamblers, basically. And that frustrated me. I don't like that. I don't like people encouraging other people to be gamblers. And what I mean by that is like penny stocks, crypto, all that garbage. That pissed me off. The second reason, and one of the main reasons, sorry, I'm all over the place right now. That's what I get for drinking. But it came to me. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm sorry.
Take time, man. You're good.
But yeah, no, it was basically a lot of snake oil salesmen were in the finance space, and I wanted to be the person who was not exposing them because I wanted to basically promote the ideas that they were not promoting. I wanted to promote the ideas that the rich guys were promoting because they work. I'm living proof that a lot of those financial principles work. It's just you have to stop seeing what your neighbor's doing. You have to, you know what I mean? Like you have to stop seeing what what I mean by that is stop looking at social media, stop seeing what your friends are doing. Yep. Focus on what you do, focus on how you can be productive. Yep. But yeah, and the second reason I started a YouTube channel was pure. I saw so many people who in my age group specifically who are just so bad with money, riddled with debt, college debt mainly. I never wanted to go to college because I knew those loans were predatory. Even when I was like 18, I looked at them over. I'm telling you, I'm a nerd. I looked them over and I was like, this is predatory. I can't. So I didn't go to college. And I just realized that I realized I could do something with my life. I just had to believe in myself a little bit. But, and a lot of it's just belief. I told myself the third thing was I believe in myself completely. I believe that I can screw up an infinite amount of times on here and it doesn't matter. Like I can have the worst shows in the world and eventually I'll still figure something out. I throw paint at the wall.
Keep putting your content out there and you don't do something that's going to get you put in the gulag, you're good.
Yeah. That's why I try not to do a show on politics. Even I was actually thinking about doing a Rumble show. I am on Rumble, but I was thinking about doing an exclusive show on Rumble that dives deep into the world of conspiracy theories and shit. Because I really do like conspiracy theories are fun. I love them.
I want to say one quick piece here, Garza. I have seen people that have gone from like soup to nuts on YouTube. And I know if you, like you said, keep doing what you're doing, you will get there. And I'm not going to hitch any train to that, but you will get there. And I like that mindset that you had. You don't need to get political. You don't even have to. But your shorts are incredible. And they're hilarious. And I show them to people. And if you just keep doing that and you don't give up, you will get there.
Oh yeah, I'm really good at marketing, shockingly. Like I'm good at making the YouTube algorithm put my shit into people's feeds. I tell people the only reason I have 2,200 or whatever subscribers is because I'm really good at using hashtags and tags. Like that's really it. Like it's as simple as that. And I'm really good at speaking about what I know.
Yep.
I try not to venture too far out of my wheelhouse, but I will from time to time because it's fun. I like talking about shit that I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to put my 2 cents in there. What do I got to lose?
And none of what I've said is trying to kiss your ass at all. It's just like legitimate, like from one man to another. You keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna get there, man.
No, you just appreciate me, man. That's just sweet as hell. I don't mean that in a bad way either.
What was Tim saying?
One thing that's great about your channel is it's hard in Canada or even elsewhere. It's hard for me to even get news in Canada, but just basically what is going on in small towns? Like, what is just an average person in a small town thinking and doing? Like, the financial part of your channel takes it to another level. Because I can sit and listen to people, like, there's YouTube channels all day about economics and stuff, but they're either people with degrees, or they're people that are already rich, or they're people who like, that's their job and stuff like that. But this is just an extra part of your life, but you get like a different perspective, because then you get all the perspective. You can have Warren Buffett's perspective. Then you can see someone who's like a consumer investor. What are they saying? It's hard to find those. Most of those people don't have YouTube channels. So just like, what is Garza investing in? What's he thinking about? What do you think of Bitcoin? So you get that other perspective that it's not easy to get.
Well, I'm proof that you could be a retail investor and not be a total nitwit. You know, like most retail investors are perceived as, YOLO, I'm going to buy GameStop. YOLO, I'm going to buy AMC stock. YOLO, it's like that's the perception. And I want people to realize they don't have to be gamblers. And that's another thing. Reddit Reddit actually fueled the fire for me wanting to do this, because I hate Reddit finance subreddits so much. I hate them with a passion. I read them and I cringe, and I'm like, dude. I felt like L. Ron Hubbard creating Scientology. I'm kidding on this one. I'm really kidding. I felt like L. Ron Hubbard creating Scientology to help the masses take better care of themselves. But I'm kidding on that part. That's Reddit.
You're actually right. I know that sounds radical, but you're right. I've seen what you're speaking about Reddit. I get that.
It's insane.
The other thing is, like, you're not broke, but you can't afford to just like flush $5,000 away or something, right?
To get big picture on that, let's speak about this. The people that played those booms and busts were people that had guys in the right places, and they had bots, and they had X, Y, and Z, and they knew how to orchestrate the pump and the dump. Yep. And they're living like nobody else, because they fucked everybody that was foolish enough to make those purchases.
Yep. The majority of the people who bought at GameStop were the bag holders, were the people who bought at the tippy top, and a lot of people lost money. A lot of people do lose money in those pump and dump schemes, like all those meme stocks and all the, especially crypto. Dude, crypto
every coin.
Dude,
Every coin.
Every crypto coin out there is a major pump and dump Ponzi scheme. And I've made money off Bitcoin. I'm not even shorting it, but like, I still think it's a scam. It's still a Ponzi scheme. It has all the characteristics of a Ponzi scheme, but nobody has the balls to admit it.
Did you see the Sam Bankman-Fried his sentence?
25 years, baby.
And he was just like his Jewish, I'll say J-word parents were just, they're highly intelligent people, and they're NYU or whatever professors of Princeton, whatever school they were, but they were just stone cold. The dad was a little bit, he had the frown eyes, and it was like, that looks like painted on frown eyes. And Sam has no physical facial expression at all. And he's just mad he got caught.
But I was gonna say, what's completely insane is people like Kevin O'Leary invested in FTX because they said, yeah, his parents are economics professors and they're specialized in like regulation and all the laws. So I know it's all going to be on the up and up. But the thing is, why didn't his parents ever step in? Why didn't they tell him, hey,
they're complicit?
They must be complicit. Otherwise, they would have stepped in at some point and been like, hey, you can go to jail forever. Like, what are you doing? You got to, because it might not have been too late for him to shut it down, give everyone's money back, just tell everyone, hey, this was messed up.
He didn't have everybody's money.
But like even before it got to that point, when he was just like early on, he could have been like, this went way too far. Here, take your money back. It's over.
As he got, so have you guys, either of you been to the Bahamas?
No. I was in Cayman Island once.
Okay. The Bahamas, I've been there on a cruise ship once.
Yeah, that's how I was on a cruise.
It's an absolute bullshit shithole that even if you have a real estate position in any position, no matter who you are, you're going to have to interact with the inner core and the political concept of what the Bahamas is. What is the political concept of the Bahamas? Period. Zilch. And I'm not somebody that's a big number guy. I'm not. But that country is totally and utterly corrupt and has intense violence. Mm-hmm. And it will increase. So you got this guy buying all this real estate. And I'm looking at it. He's got the $20 million position. He's got a $50 million position. He's got a $70 million position in the house. And this is in this time frame of what you were saying is it's implausible deniability. It's like, okay, well, he's earning this. He can do this. But then when you look at it in hindsight, so I'll stop.
Yeah, you're right. His parents must have been complicit because otherwise they should have stopped it before it ever got that out of hand. But
they must complicit.
They must have been, yeah.
They were. And he was smart too, but you got three people that have 130 IQ on a finance board on how to make X amount of dollars in X amount of time, and they're going to do it.
And the 25 years, I don't think it helped that he did like 50 interviews during that time saying that he's not taking any of the money and he sleeps on like a bath mat and drives a Toyota. I don't think that helped his sentence either.
It might have helped his initial investors.
No, it definitely did. It was effective altruism. Anytime Bill Clinton interviews you, you're probably going to jail for 20 years. Like he interviewed Elizabeth Holmes, he interviewed Jack Ma, he interviewed SBF, and they all went to jail.
You know what's funny about the whole SBF thing is I swear to God I got a pretty okay. I say I've got an okay-ish red flag detector. I don't know how anybody could have looked at SBF and just the way he handled himself. He just seemed like some spoiled punk kid. Like I know hindsight's 20/20, but like I looked at him, I took one look at him, I was like, I don't think I'd give that guy money. I don't know if I'd trust him. He may be a boy genius, but he also seems kind of shisty. It's like Gary Vaynerchuk. Like I wouldn't give that guy 2 cents of my money. Like he probably could multiply it. Sure, I don't know, but I still don't trust him. I think he's a grifter. But
no way.
What up, Grant Cardone?
That's a good guy. You know what?
He's good. He's okay.
MLM. I work and I listen to podcasts and I listen to an anti-MLM guy. And his name's Marco. and you just Google anti-MLM Marco, and he's gone after some guys, and it's just hilarious to see it. And I coincidentally know a guy that's worth a very significant amount of money because he at 18 started a construction company, and then he did a utility company right after that with his brother, and then they were able to blow that shit up because he learned his mistakes in his like 18 to 20 something years old, and by the time he was 32 he's on the golf course. Like, no, I'm dead serious, hand on the Bible. By the way, I'm a Christian, and I'm a born again Christian. I was in a car accident, and I believe that every moment that I have in my life is solely given to me by God.
It was, but Biden changed it to a day of trans visibility. I'm sorry to tell you.
Hey, you know what?
Happy Easter.
I'll leave that on the table. You know what? I don't go to church. I don't do any of that bullshit. I'm just telling you that if you are intelligent enough, as Garza is and as you are, Tim, you will realize eventually in your lifetime that the person that, or the entity that created the reality that we live in is more intelligent, and knows the unknown knowns and the knowns we will never know. And that is God. It is an incomprehensible whatever you want to book it as. So I'll
Creative
stop.
design, baby. Creative design. So there's two theories, and chaotic and creative. I do believe that there is some sort. I wouldn't be surprised if there, because like I'm one of those guys that I've never been fully committed to a religion by any means, but I've had moments in my life where I'm like, I've seen certain things. Even the study of the genome makes me wonder if there's got to be some sort of creator to all of our programming, like to what we are.
What things did you see that made you think that?
Just how complex the human genome is. That alone was a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And how we can come from, I do believe in evolution, but I do believe that science and religion are not mutually exclusive. I do believe that they do have. I think that science is a way to explain what the creator was trying to do, because sometimes it's tough to get a hold of the creator. It's not like you can just call up God and be like, "Hey, God, why did you do this shit?" It's not that easy. We have some of the things in the Bible kind of tell you a few little things, but it doesn't give going in depth.
Yeah.
But I think science is a way for us to try to discover what was the creator trying to make. So, I do believe in creative design for sure. I find it hard to believe that all of us, our eventuality was just a snap of an accident, I don't know. I think there's got to be some sort of intent behind it. Yeah. I'd like to believe.
I have a cousin that works for Google, and he worked the CERN collider in Switzerland.
The Hadron Collider?
Yeah, he finished his PhD there. And he is not able to think in a certain direction. And you know what? I was born to a very intelligent family. I'm not claiming to be that, but he was very, very intelligent. And he went to the CERN collider, and he finished his PhD there. And he now works for Google, and his job before Google was a perceptive analyst of basically yields on loans and he was an analyst for yields on loans on a big picture scale. So it was just hilarious to me to think about. I don't know if I'm connecting that very well, but it's just hilarious to me to hear that, and then to think about what somebody that is like a particle physicist at one point in the daylight. And this is my cousin. He's a blood cousin of mine. First cousin. And he still works for Google. And he married a Chinese communist. I can't say anything else because I'm going to get killed if I keep talking about it.
It's all right.
But I'm dead serious, hand on the Bible. my cousin married a legitimate Chinese communist woman descendant, and they live in San Francisco.
Is your cousin Mark Zuckerberg?
No, dude. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I might as well be a martyr because I don't care what I stack up in this life. If I speak the truth and die for it, then that's all that I'm worth.
Well, you know,
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Canada, we got a lot of atheists, so we have a lot of drug addicts. That's all I'll say.
I used to be an atheist.
Yeah.
I was raised in a very lukewarm Christian home. And I said, why on earth are we doing what we're doing? We are just doing what we are doing for the sake of doing it, to show people that we are business worthy, essentially. And I had that car accident, and I said, why on earth are we doing what we're doing? We might as well build wealth for people that have the perspective of the appreciation of it, even if they don't have the faith, because eventually life is going to beat them down to appreciate it. And they're going to reach this apex where they're going to be able to do things that help other people grow. So I'll stop on that.
I'm all about the science of achievement, man. I think that it sounds like it's a little bit off topic, but I don't know. One of the reasons I like to do what I do and try to do whatever I can, I like to achieve things. And I'm just a weirdo. I like to see what I'm like. I'm inspired by guys like Kobe Bryant. I'm inspired by dudes like even my boy Grant Cardone. Like even though I do think he's a little slight grifter, but not too much. He does speak a lot of truth. But I think if we can all, I don't know. I think war would end, and this is what I firmly believe, if we all learned to really, really focus on what we're doing. Like if we all really get involved in our own lives. And people think that that's selfish, but not really. I think it's selfish to care too much about other people's lives, you know, if that makes sense. Because if you get too involved and start because I've done that before. I've gotten a little too involved in people's lives to where I think that my shitty advice is helping them out, and I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not. So that's why I try to give out generalized advice, you know, just things that I know that have worked for me, and then I just try to just say, hey. I technically I can't give financial advice, so I'm just going to say not financial advice. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway,
I'm surprised by it.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't even know where I'm going anymore with this. I drank too much of this Elysian. It's my bad. I'm blaming the alcohol. I'm not taking personal responsibility, but
yeah, you almost need a spirituality to be an investor because you gotta be able to separate yourself from the world and not take it too seriously. Like, I literally make money off of some fat kid drinking 12 Pepsis. Like, that can't be your life. That's just got to be like your investment thing. You got to be able to separate the two. Like you know Jesse Lee Peterson, that black guy? He's like the pastor. Yeah. But his whole show's called The Fallen State. That's one of the questions he asks you all the time. All his interviews. Are we in a fallen state?
You know what Jesse's number one piece of advice is for people that have any money?
What?
Buy a little piece of land.
Yeah, you can do that. Buy some land.
No, it sounds retarded, but I'll let you keep going.
It's not, because land, at least, it's physical. It's something that's yours. You can lease it. You can lease it out. Honestly, having land in real estate is great because it could become a productive asset in no time if you just lease it out to somebody else. You know, whether it's land ownership is really important. In fact, I've been considering lately trying to invest in land around here, but I will admit some of the land's overvalued. But then again, maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I should actually just be doing it now, investing in land here and now, because the coastal land is super fucking valuable in my opinion.
Buku bucks. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it'll only go up in value over time. So
if you want to take the Davos Switzerland model of the oligarchs, they're thinking, okay, well, we're going to 10x in the next 50 years the value of your marketplace that you're speaking about. where it's a coastal marketplace, that's going to 10x. You can't buy a single family home in anywhere in the United States that has a actual ocean view, inimputed view of the ocean, or unimpeded view of the ocean for less than $4 million anywhere.
Really? Holy shit.
No, I'm dead serious. I know that sounds crazy, but
I think you're probably right, though. It doesn't shock me. I just never thought about it.
If you're like an unimpeded view of the ocean, and we're talking about 200 feet wide piece of land.
But I heard something amazing the other day. I was watching the movie Inherent Vice with Joaquin Phoenix, and there's a scene at the very end where I don't know, there's some drug deal went bad, and anyway, the guy owes him some money, so he's going to give him money. But he doesn't want the money. He just wants a deal for his friend. And he's like, how much would I have to take for you to still respect me? He's like, I'll take some money if it makes you respect me, basically. And the rich guy goes to him. He goes, people like me lose respect for people like you the first time you ever pay rent. And I was just like, that's how Davos looks at the rest of the world. That's how all these people look at you. The first time you ever paid rent to someone, you've lost their respect forever. You're a different caste than them. So that's like one of those quotes that really puts in perspective where you are in life.
But like I said, I mean, the Davos tangent was totally based on something I watched on YouTube. But the guy that was a bus mechanic he's not the Davos guy now, but he's worth $200 and some million. He's an alcoholic, but he's got a giant ass lap pool and a $6-7+ million house in an exclusive neighborhood, and he's provided a lifestyle for I wouldn't do this, but he did buy his gay son, his straight son, his gay daughter, which bought them all multi-million-dollar homes and renovated them on his dime.
Well, I mentioned my dad. I've got a couple step siblings that did grow up with him. And let's just say I'm good where I'm at. I'd rather have been me than because they did what they do. You grow a beard and you become a DJ, and that's your life. Like not much happens. So I'm just like, I'm good where I'm at. I'll take my $1,600 every 2 weeks, and I don't want to have access to his mansion. They can do that. I'm good.
So you got that on top of your personal income?
No, that's just my personal income. I get about $1,600-1,700 every.
Do you get any sort of kickback from his estate?
Nothing. I never got anything. I knew him when I was a teenager. He paid like a few $100s to my grandparents. I was living a month, which was below what legally child support was, but that's the deal they did. But that's it. I never got any money from him. But I had a couple siblings who grew up with them. And it's just like, one's like in a commune now outside of Portland, apparently, in Oregon. And apparently he's not doing very good. My dad told me to call him. I tried calling him. I couldn't get a hold of him.
Garza,
you got to go find my brother like Dog the Bounty Hunter. You got to bring him to my dad's mansion and get him in the pool and get him bring those vitamins you got.
I'll give him get some vitamin D. You just need. Honestly, if you live in Portland enough, it's usually kind of cloudy and stuff, so people should be taking vitamin D supplements out there. But keep them off the fet. You got to keep them off the fentanyl, man.
Yeah, you got to go find this half brother I got.
Yeah, bro, I'm down. I don't know if it takes more than 5 minutes, I'd be like, I'm out.
He's a vegan. Bring a few loaves of Coos Bay loaf or whatever you guys eat up there.
It's a good idea. I'll just bring some IPAs. We got some great IPAs here. And, we got. This is my IPA hipster voice. This is what I do after I drink IPAs. I like to get my spiritual chakras. I like to rub my nipples, and my chakras they're pretty good right now. They're pretty high.
Yep. That's where it's really at.
Oh man. Well, we've been on for about 2 hours, man. I'm actually.
I've been watching the UFC the whole time. The main event's on now.
Oh, you've been watching UFC? Smart man, dude.
You guys need to go to bed.
I mean, I'm tired. I'm tired as hell. I usually get up pretty early. I usually get up at like 5:30 or 6, and it's 10:20. It's 10:20 where I'm at though. So
I'll let y'all go.
Hey, always skeptical, my man, dude. This is, by the way, I've seen you in my.
I lost you. Yeah, I can't
You
hear
just
you.
muted yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got to unmute himself. There you go.
I'm back. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
You're good. You're good. What were you saying about me being in your comments?
Yeah, no, I just want to say, because I've seen you in the comments and I've seen you, like, I think in the chats, I don't know, but I think in comments mainly. And when I saw that you popped in on there through the invite link, I was like, yes, in my head, I was like, gotta get him on. Because I was like, dude, because I love having people who actually want to watch my show and have input. I love having them on. Like, it gives me a boner, figuratively.
Dude, I get the no pause. I get the figurative situation there. and dude, I want to support you because I get where you're going, and you're gonna get there. You will.
No, and I believe it wholeheartedly too, because and it's not a cockiness that I say this. It's just because I know that I'm relatable in a weird way to some people, and it's maybe not completely, but I'm not completely. I'm a weird guy, but
I'm gonna give you your recipe. You are well spoken, and you are well above average intelligence. You are like 130 plus IQ.
Did you say 130 plus?
Yes.
That's a good score.
Because I was gonna say, yeah, because I scored like around that amount in like high school when I took an IQ test.
Okay, but you got to think about that. The Ashkenazi Jews are averaging 115.
115?
Yeah. So
I always claim to be Jewish, so I don't know. Maybe
I got a little bit going on.
I do got that.
Totally a joke. That's totally a joke. All of that was a bit.
No, that's funny though.
You got his hopes up. You thought he was going to do a rap with Tom McDonald.
I honestly, I personally think I personally think I've gotten a little dumber since high school. So I'm pretty sure my IQ level's not that high. But
I only say that, and again, I do not kiss anybody's ass. It was purely because of the way that you contextualize what you're looking at and the comedy on top of that, dude. What the fuck? It's insane.
Maybe I'm just more comedic than I give myself credit for, because I personally don't think I'm really that funny. I think I'm a little cringy, to be honest. But
no, no, dude. There are guys that you will blow out of the goddamn water if you just stay persistent.
Oh yeah, no, and I just try to be unapologetically me, and I think that maybe that is funny. Maybe that's somehow funny.
Yeah.
But
you'll get there. My fiance is pissed at me right now, but you know what? It was worth every minute of it. I appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have a good one. Garza.
Hey, later, guys. Woo.
Godspeed.
All right, later, everybody. I'm out.
See you later. Wait, everyone leaving? Oh, Garza's still here.
Oh yeah, I'll stick around for just a couple more seconds. But Tim, what did you? Just a quick. We'll just go post game show real quick. Always skeptical. That was an honor to have him on. By the way.
I think I've seen him. Is he from Duck Dynasty?
He's been in my comments section though, and he's awesome, man. He's got some really good comments from what I remember. I've responded to a couple of them. I respond to all my comments, but it was fun to respond to his because I felt like he, had some good quips, some good one-liners. It was just sweet, and he posed a lot. He's a really good interviewer. Like he's a better interviewer than I would ever imagine myself being, because I think I'm shitty at interviewing. But he asks some really good questions and poses some really interesting subject topics.
Yeah, his main point was, if you know what you're doing, you can work hard and be really well.
Hold on, William, my boy White Eagle. Let's see, what did he never responded to my? Yeah, I did. Hold on, did I not respond to the Eagles? Eagles claiming that I didn't respond to one of his messages on the comments section. Hold on. Eagle, give me a second. Did I?
I don't know. What did he say?
No, I did. I'm looking at it right now. I've responded. Well, there's 4 comments I haven't responded to, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I never respond to.
I don't like, though, that everyone keeps telling me to buy land. I'm not going to be buying land. I have no money to buy land. That ship has sailed. I will be buying no land.
You can buy REITs that buy land.
That's all I can do. I can buy REITs. I will not be owning a physical piece of land anywhere.
So William Bentley saying White Eagle doesn't matter. White Eagle. What do you? Oh wait, William? Well, I think it's like a Clark Kent situation. So I think my boy Billy is trying to hide the fact that his real secret identity is White Eagle, which is like basically Batman. Just gonna let everybody know, he's basically Batman, which means
that's the guy you're eating hot sauce with.
Yeah. Honestly, he took those hot sauces like a champ, in my opinion.
Yeah.
White Chief.
Wait, we haven't done our Tom Green video of the week.
Oh, Tom Green video of the week? Okay.
You ever see when he does Undercutter's Pizza?
Undercovers Pizza?
Yeah, we'll try that one. Okay, we'll watch.
All right, we'll watch one Tom Green video, then I gotta go. I gotta go to bed. I'm just tired of shit. All right, let's pull this up. Let's look at some Tom Green.
Where is
I'm
it?
excited.
Am I sharing it? Okay, is it on there? Okay. Let's I gotta press play. Hang on, I gotta exit the screen. Okay, this is Undercutter's Pizza. He was trying to basically, he'll show up at your house and sell you a pizza for less that you ordered. Let's see what
That's awesome.
See that Camaro right there? It belongs to a real pizza guy. Real. And I've got this new business idea where we're going to undercut the competition. We're going to follow that pizza guy to his next delivery. And we're going to try and undercut the competition. Bop, 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 bop. Undercutters. Get down. There he is. That's our pizza guy.
This is awesome.
Stay back, Simon and Simon style. You know. There he is. Okay. Keep flying. Okay. Oh, okay. Pull in. Let's order the pizza.
Yeah.
What toppings did you guys want on your pizza?
Extra cheese.
Extra cheese, okay.
Where's my pizza?
Here we go. Let's sit here. No, we're from Undercutters. Yeah.
Pizza.
No, how much is it? How much is yours?
Get the hell away from me.
No, you get it cheaper from me, though.
I really don't give a f. Get out.
Because you can get cheaper from me if you want.
I got 3 seconds to get out of here.
This is a new business.
Understand it, we're f***ing American. Get out of here now. Let the dog out.
Okay, but this is a new business. It's called
I'm gonna new business it right up your ass.
Hey.
Get your shit out of here.
No, don't. This is
Get out of here now.
okay. We were gonna give it to you cheaper.
Whatever.
We're just trying to start a new business here. It's a creative.
Start it by advertising like normal people.
No, I want to.
Why do you gotta be a moron? Do me a favor. Take this and advertise somewhere else.
Okay, I'm
right?
sorry, but you know we just go up to where the pizza people.
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
And go.
Okay. You guys ordered a pizza. We want to sell you one for cheaper. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, go. He's got a hammer. Go.
Dude, this guy's
We're sorry. Go, Matt.
dude.
Matt, come on, Matt. Matt, this is the line. Matt, turn around. This is Matt. Go. We're going. We're sorry. Go. We're from Undercutters. We just wanted to sell them a pizza for cheaper. That's all we wanted to do.
There you go.
Fucking brilliant, dude. That was actually dude, Tom Green, I will say about Tom Green, he's one of the more creative comedians when he back in the day. Like his show was just so much fun. It was definitely the YouTube prank show before YouTube prank shows happened. So
Yeah, well, see if anyone does it on Skip the Dishes, they follow you, they show up and be like, "What did you get? A burger?" and just try and sell it for cheap.
yeah.
What do you want?
All right.
Pickles?
All right. Well, before we head out, do you have any final last words, my man? For the audience, any?
No, other than I've been talking to a lot of people in investing lately, and they're all just sort of, "Oh, thanks. Maybe I'll get around to it sooner or later." I'm like, you don't understand. It's not optional. They're probably not going to have Social Security in the U.S. It's going to be bankrupt. Canada, I'm supposed to get some sort of pension through my job, but I'm not. I don't think that might not even happen. So all I'm saying is that start buying stocks now. Try and get some dividends for retirement. But no one's listening to me. But maybe I won't say it after tonight. This is the final time I'm going to say it to everyone.
I'm just afraid of government failure. That's why I'm afraid to rely on Social Security. I'm straight up like.
And I rented a car. I'm getting a Chevrolet Spark.
Chevrolet Spark, huh?
Apparently it's tiny, but it was the cheapest on gas, so that's the one I'm renting for when I visit my hometown in a week and a half.
Dude, I dig it. That's sexy as hell, dude. Get it.
$153 gets me a Chevrolet Spark for 24 hours.
Not bad. That's pretty sick. I dig it, man. All right, partner. All right, I'll let you go, dude. It was a pleasure having both of you guys on. Actually, that was sick as hell. I call it a I definitely call it a three-way on this show. I want to make it as gay as possible, no matter what. So anytime there's a ton of men on the camera, it's a virtual three-way. We're in the metaverse, by the way, having a three-way. That's how the metaverse works, I think. But anyway, all right, love you, partner.
All right, I'll see you next time.
All right.
I see you later.
Woo. Later, bud.